Hello, welcome to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America. I'm your host, Tabitha Ziegler. All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. We got a fun guest today. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Hines, and I am the founder of Connie's Clubhouse. We are a nonprofit based out of Indianapolis, and we work with individuals of all abilities, whether it be level 3 SIB intense behavior therapy. We provide parenting support classes, and we also just help navigate all the changes that are currently going on within our not only state but federal government levels and funding issues at this time.
Well, speaking of government and all of that sort of stuff, we have a vet in our presence. So
Yes.
Let's talk about vet stuff a little bit.
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps for active duty for 4 years, 4.5 years ish like that. I did the rest of it on an inactive or reserve term sort of thing, which allowed me to come back and kind of start working in the civilian sector. Once I started doing that, though, as a veteran, I noticed that a lot of my still active duty families who had individuals or loved ones with disabilities were really struggling in the way that the military service doesn't provide you all the support you need. So, yes, you have medical expenses are covered, right? You have certain things, but just like in the civilian world, when as a veteran I have TRICARE, right?
Yeah.
Well, TRICARE doesn't necessarily cover ABA therapy. It doesn't necessarily cover traditional therapy,
Right.
unless you're in the right space or you have the right criteria. So
Right.
a lot of things that as a veteran I've dealt with, not only for my own personal health, but for other families, and just knowing how the system works, it has really led me to believe that if the military wanted you to have a family, they would have issued you one, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the motto that I kind of live by. Is I loved the military. I love everything it gave me. But definitely they are not really there to ensure that long term you are successful unless you stay in, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I had a great experience. My husband was a veteran as well, both Marine Corps. We loved it. But I don't think I would give it up for anything, especially now that I have my kids. So,
Well, let's talk a little bit about the GI Bill, because I know you said you have at least one degree.
yes.
And, as we spoke about before, a large portion of graduates from Indiana, basically, that's their way to college. Like if you don't make the grade, if you're not getting like a lot of scholarships, that's pretty much your only way to go to college. So that's why you have a lot of enlistments from areas like this.
Yeah, so with the GI Bill, it's super great, right? But a lot of people don't know you actually pay into that. So I always say recruiters are the best salesmen, right? They give you the greatest pitch. You're going to do all these cool things. And I guess just to share my story, like I was in my undergrad when I actually joined the military.
Okay.
I went from my junior year into my senior year. I left early. I didn't graduate. And the big thing for me was at that time, I was ready to go overseas. I was really wanting to do something not only for myself, but for the community and individuals around me. I wanted to be a part of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
With that, though, recruiters always tell you get the GI Bill, you have your tuition assistance, you can do all these things, and it's great. But you pay into it, first of all, so you can either pick the GI Bill or the post 9/11.
Okay.
They're pretty much the same thing, work very similarly depending on what college you go to or where you want to go. But they're both programs that once you sign into the military, you agree to pay into that program. But then you have it for life, right? So what I did and how I kind of used my benefits once you go to boot camp and once you finally are done with all your training and everything, it's probably like 3 months 4 months, depending on boot camp. Then you can start actually accessing those educational services. So when you're in the military, I always recommend to junior Marines or younger individuals use your tuition assistance. So that's a program that you can go to any education center on base, and they will help you set up at any college or anything like that the ability to use basically a stipend instead of your GI Bill while you're on active duty. So you're only able to use that while you're on active duty. And so what I did is I used that to pay for the rest of my undergrad, and then I used that to pay for my master's program as well. So I finished both my undergrad and my master's while on active duty.
Smart.
So then when I got out, I had my whole GI Bill.
Nice.
Now, the other part of that is if there's a lot of individuals who have kids or maybe are don't actually think maybe they go into a trade, right? So you can also use it for trade school. You can use it for your kids later on in life if you have an honorable discharge or you have a certain disability rating. So the GI Bill, even if you don't use it for you, you can give it to family members, right? So like whatever I haven't used on my GI Bill, I'll give it to my kids. I'll split it between them. My husband's the same way. He has his GI Bill and he hasn't touched it at all because he's in a trade, right? And the company he worked for paid for that. So now all 4 years of that GI Bill can go to our kids. So basically now they get college paid for, if that makes sense.
If it's still around by then.
If it's still around. Is the big kicker right there, if it's still around. But I think that is the enticing part about the GI Bill because, a lot of individuals, like you said, are coming straight out of high school. When I joined, I was older. I was like 22, 23. I was a little bit more, I wouldn't say mature, but I just had a little bit more of understanding of why I was there and what I was doing. And it wasn't just because I thought I'd be in for life. And it wasn't until I became a mom that I was like, no, this life is not for me. But it also helped me find the education resources. And there's billions of dollars for veterans on every academic site. I think there was 4 or 5 scholarships I applied for, and I got every single one of them because there was very few people that even applied. Because you have to be a veteran, you have to be part of a certain military criteria. Maybe a family member has to be part of a certain branch. It's kind of crazy how many scholarships are out there to even offset the GI Bill. And I have peers who never have even touched their benefits at all.
No kidding.
Because they've been able to use those scholarships or use those funds, use their tuition assistance to get them there, which now hopefully if it stays around, right, our kids will be able to benefit from it. So that was like, I think that's what's different from how I entered in. Like I had a goal, I had a plan of why I was there, what I was doing, and what I wanted to accomplish. And even though it changed, it still didn't deter from being able to learn about how I can make the military work for me and getting the most out of my time in the military, if that makes sense.
No, it does. So we had a conversation before we started about picking the branch of the military. And, as we discussed, we've both got, a lot of military members hanging about. So why did you pick the Marines?
So I picked the Marines because I wanted the challenge. I actually had went to a lot of different like pulley events or what they're called, like when you're going into recruit training or you're kind of thinking about it. And I just didn't feel like it was going to be hard enough. Like I had looked online, I'd done my research. When I went to the Marine Corps, like I knew I would be taken completely away from my family. I'd have, no contact with them for a couple of months. And they would really tear me down and rebuild me into something better, if that made sense, and give you purpose, right? That was just really important to me to have that sense of like, we're not here just to be another picture and show off that we're in uniform. Like there's tradition, there's honor, there's like real strength in it. And when I got to boot camp, the first like 36 hours, I don't think we were able to sleep. We weren't given any food. We just sat in a desk. And it was miserable. But looking back, had I not done that, I don't think I would have been able to find the strength I have now to do what I'm doing.
Which is
advocating for individuals with disabilities because they are continuously at the bottom of the food chain. They're continuously losing things. And there are a lot of people who say they want to help, right? I'm going to put that in quotations.
Right.
There's a lot of people that say they're wanting to do the right thing, but they have no idea what's really going on, and I also think that being in the Marine Corps has helped me not be afraid. I mean, I've worked in intensive psychiatric hospitals, in schools, in ABA clinics, and I've worked with clients who have been outpatients at Kennedy Krieger, one of the bigger intensive behavioral hospitals, So having the ability to just not be afraid and know that whatever comes my way will come, and I can defend myself and keep everybody safe, and it doesn't scare me. I think it's been the most powerful weapon I have, because I've been able to see a lot of growth in those severely autistic or severely disabled individuals.
Well, let's talk about that a little more, because, as you said, there are the talkers and the doers, and I'm definitely in the doer category.
Yes.
And it sounds like you are also in the doer category. So when we talk about these type of things, especially with the individuals that, I hate the word profound. How do you feel about that? Like, I hate that word. I hate this whole, there's this extra thing, because I'm like, it's an umbrella term kind of on purpose, and it's almost like, you're purposely excluding these people.
Yeah, and it's creating an unwanted stigma, I think. I think that, in my personal opinion, now this is my opinion, I don't think anybody is profoundly disabled. I think that people have different disabilities, but if you meet them where they're at, then they can just be as successful. So that's kind of my viewpoint, is I think there's a lot of these words are stigmas and create false identities, and there's not enough of well, let's actually see what that is. I could say, I have a client right now who has a profound disability, but yet he can work for an hour or two almost every day. He can communicate using his pictures. He can do things by himself, but yet he has that label of being profoundly disabled. And I'm like, that's crazy, because he can be super independent. And to me, that doesn't make sense how he could be profoundly disabled. So I don't like that word.
Well, I've got 3 kids.
Yes.
That have autism, and they've got varying issues. And I have one, like I told you, that uses an AAC device, speaks a little bit more at school than he does at home. But when I look at my kids, I don't think, you're more profound than that one. It's more about what skill set can I give you? How many tools can I put in your toolbox to make sure that you're the most successful that you can be, you individually, separate from your sister or your brother, for example.
Exactly. And I think that that's what's really going on with kind of our society or our nation. Not just our state, but our nation as a whole, is we're trying to put them in a box and say, this is a one-size-fits-all problem, and this is how we're going to fix it. And that's just not the case, because each of your kids, as you know, is completely different. Their needs are completely different. But if you, as the mom, right, and I'm not trying to say this, but as other moms I know, you meet them where they are and you watch them develop and build those skills. Maybe it takes a little bit more time. Maybe that skill looks a little bit different in the beginning. Maybe we're chaining or shaping it differently, right? But they still have the ability. So that's why I think that it's just an outdated term. And often I just think some people are just uneducated on what people with profound disabilities do, because they honestly don't take the time to I would welcome anybody to come step in one of these houses with me and my staff. Anytime, any day, come pull a shift and tell me that these individuals are profoundly disabled, because they are some of the smartest individuals that I've ever been around.
Well, it sounds like some of these legislators should take you up on that offer.
Oh, I think so. I think that anybody that sits in a political stance should have some sort, if they're trying to advocate, again, I'm going to put it in quotations, advocate, then they should be at least willing to come and see what we're fighting for and see the need. So for right now, I'm a behavior consultant. That's something that I do on the side, just because I don't trust anybody to take my clients. I'll probably never give that up. I gave up a client at one point to another BC, and I almost lost my freaking mind because it was so horrible that I seen in 3 months, I had a client go from being able to do the laundry with assistance, do the dishes, start the microwave, do all these things, to now he's completely in behaviors every day, running out the door, eloping, just craziness. So that's why I'll probably never get rid of them as my caseload, because I can't have that happen. You build that rapport, you see that growth, and then it's like, can't let it go. But also with these individuals who are making these decisions for us, they should come into these homes, any of these residential houses, any of these group homes, and see that, for $10 to freaking $15 an hour to do 8 hours to 16 hours of work is ridiculous. Because you have to provide total care. You have to bathe them. You have to cook their meals. You have to clean their house. You have to ensure they take their medicine. Sometimes you get the crap beat out of you. And then you're expected to come back the next day like nothing happened. You're not really given time to recuperate or recover, or, you don't always have the ability to move house to house to put you in a different environment. So then now you're a trigger. So then now we've created a whole nother set of problems that will not only affect the client personally, will affect the staff, will affect the roommates, and now we've created a toxic environment. And I don't truly believe that people who are making these decisions get that, because if they got that, they wouldn't have thought that the changes that they're making would be productive, because you're taking behavior consultants like myself and saying, okay, you have 4 hours. Figure it out. Right.
So to kind of paint the picture for people, how did it start? Let's say October of last year, right? Like, what was your experience, say, October of last year to now? Because we're just now, like a little bit over a year ago, year in the future from where you were. Kind of paint that picture for them. Like, what did it look like as a BCBA at that time? How many hours were you doing with your clients and all that?
So last year, a year ago today, I had a full caseload, 40-hour caseload. I was able to provide some of my clients 10 to 15 hours a week with their staff, with their family, in person, one-on-one, and while also being able to use some of that time to communicate outside of that one-on-one in-person hour, right? So I could do the research that I needed to do. I could help look for different activities to try and subject them to. It was a lot more focused on providing the best life. And that's the term that I am keying right now to everybody is, we used to want to provide the best life. Now we want to provide a good life, because now we're shifting into taking away resources, right? So I could collaborate with music therapists who had multiple hours a week. I could collaborate with rec therapists and get to observe my clients with all their therapies in all these settings. And it allowed for the freedom and the flexibility to say, hey, my client's having a rough month. Can you maybe scoot some more hours on this month's budget, and whatever I don't use, we can then flex to spread it out for the rest of the budget, right? Currently, and what we're going into now, is we will no longer be able to do that. So as a BC, right, it is 4 hours a week setting. That's it. You get that. That's it. The budgets are set. No more, no less, right?
So what's that look like? I'm trying to get people to understand
so
what this looks like when you walk into a house, like say last year with all the things that you were doing versus now when you're talking about that 4 hours.
So it looks more interactive. You have a lot more joy. Your clients' lives more fulfilled, right? Because when you have clients who maybe need a little bit of additional support, or you have staff who are straight out of high school, straight off the street, have a driver's license, never worked in this field, and say you want to put them in a house with a 20-year-old who, gets a little stir crazy in the house, and then that's when the behaviors occur because they're bored, right? The community is the way that we break the boredom, right? Keep them busy, keep them engaged, keep them learning, keep them growing. As a BC, I would be able to say, hey, I'm going to come out for 4 hours this week, and then I'm going to use the other hours to do consults with you one-on-one to help you train, understand, and make sure that after this activity, you know how to do it again independently, right? Or the same with families. I would be able to go to family events and help monitor and help the family be like, oh, well, you know, we shouldn't be giving into that here because that's going to create that pairing or that chaining. So there was a lot more flexibility on where the hours could be used, what environments, and the overall best life fulfilling for the client, right? They learned more. They were able to have more experiences. You have a lot of staff who are, like I said, new to the field. So when you pair them with somebody who has a disability and can't talk or uses an AAC device, having a BC there to say, hey, we've got you, right? Like, here's my number. Call me, text me 24/7. Like, I can help you and I want to help you because I want you to be able to do these things because it'll make your job easier, right? And we could do those things. I used to have great open conversations with my, you know, some of the staff that were in the homes. I was able to help the parents, like if they call me on a weekend, say, hey, we're kind of scrambling. And now it's more of about the numbers and do you qualify? And so from last year, they've basically taken providing community care, social engagement, ensuring that the staff are being educated and helped. And they're kind of pulling from that by taking not only B-Man, right? But you also have music therapists and rec therapists who come and help some of them multiple times a week to get their clients out and active, whether that be with the staff, the DSP staff and them or not. You're still getting that training and that support in, but it also allows for everybody to bond and understand the common goal. Now, right, in our current day, right, let's fast forward to where we are now. Right. We are limited to 4 hours a week. Now these are only if you have clients coming on your caseload. So any clients, let me back up, I guess. So any clients I have now going into 2026 will start automatically with 4 hours a week. I'll be able to see them as I've been seeing them. I'll be able to do all these things with them to an extent within the 4 hours.
Okay.
Now, anything outside of that 4 hours would be considered natural supports in a way, right?
And what does that mean?
So that means like I'm basically acting as a peer or a family member and providing support. So say I have a client, right, because I have multiple who when they have a crisis and they don't have a staff around or some of them live on their own, they would call me and I would, you know, bill for that time or however it would be. Well, now with 4 hours, now I'm limited.
So basically, because you love your clients, you're just doing it for free.
In some ways, yeah. In some ways, yeah, because crises don't happen just when I'm with them. And that's what I think the big issue is with everything is you want to, as a BC, and I know I'm not the only one. I have multiple peers who, you know, feel the same way. But we want to make sure that you know we're there. We're usually the most consistent people. The rec therapy, the music therapy, the BCs, like we are the most steady staff that most of these individuals have. And now they're trying to basically put a cap on what we can do and how we do it and the way we do it and then the information that we provide, right? So if I were to provide over 4 hours of services, then to my clients, I would be then at that point a natural support, like I said. But if I start providing more natural support to my clients, then I do actually, because now I only have those 4 hours, now I'm in an unethical spot, right? As a BC, because where I used to have those hours to be there, now I don't. And for example, I have a peer right now she is a behavior consultant. She's been doing this for over 20 years. Yeah. Because of these changes, she's lost like 2/3 of her hours because she provided a lot of the hours, most of the budgeting, because her caseload is a lot of high behavior. You know, you're not going to get staff to come
And nobody
in.
wants to take those people.
No, and then that's the other thing is I have clients right now who are high behavior or have complex, right? They may have medical need and behavioral need. Mm-hmm. Where do they go? There's nowhere for them to go, right? There is in Greenfield, there's like a 19 bed facility for, I think it's a male only. Don't quote me on that. Mm-hmm. Or there's, places like Daymar Village, which is beautiful, but there's wait lists. And even in Daymar Village, you have to have staff. Maybe it's not Daymar staff, maybe it's another staff, but you're not going to find a staff who is going to be able to work with somebody who is aggressive, who's causing property destruction, who harms themselves and may harm you, right? So that's the other part of it is they're taking away what's been the most stable support system for a lot of these clients and what a lot of the budget goes to, because a lot of these clients have natural supports because there's no staff. We're in a staffing crisis. So now that we're taking all that away, we're relying on natural supports, right? What if they can't get the staff? Now what do they need the waiver for? Right? So then if they don't use the waiver, will they lose the waiver? Because they've already put the freeze on the FSW waiver. So it's like slowly we see the shift into putting everybody in a box and saying this is what we're going to do to fix everything. And it doesn't work that way.
Well, just an opinion. Yeah. And I don't have the same, education that you do, but just from talking to people and what I'm observing and, being part of the neurodiverse community myself, like my brain goes down certain pathways that other people's don't. And I will say for me, all roads seem to lead to reinstitutionalization.
Yes.
Like that's where I see this going. That's why all my spidey senses have kicked in into high gear, because it just seems very clear, not just with the disabled community, but just in general. You keep seeing more of these groups of people that the government in some way, shape, or form, whether it's like local, state, or federal, that they are now deciding from a government perspective of these people aren't worth serving.
Yes. And that's why I say we've gone, like last year, I remember being a BCA going into 2025, and it was like, we want to provide the best life possible. We want to give, the best support, the best of everything, right? To now it's a good life. So we just want to make sure that nothing happens to get a lawsuit. And that's honestly, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like now it's like, how do we avoid a lawsuit as not only a state, right, but politicians who I can't speak for all of them, but I would welcome any of the people making these cuts up at these high levels, making these decisions, saying this is what we're going to do, this is going to work. Like, I would love for them to come and spend a week with me, and I invite them to come spend a week with me, because I see families every single day who need help, who need the support.
They're on waiting lists.
They're on waiting lists, or they fall through the gaps, right? They're gap people because they may fit this need, but over here you have to fit this criteria to get in this facility or get this treatment. You have to have this label to get this, or you have to be able to, with the waiver, it only covers staff. So even if you get a residential waiver, you still have to pay your loved one's bills. You have to pay your loved one's rent. You have to pay for everything. You still have to provide for them. So how is that providing the best life? How is that doing something to benefit? It's almost in a way like kind of how they're moving the homeless around Indiana, right? Oh, we moved the homeless out of here. No, you didn't. You pushed them to another spotted town where they're going to build another camp where you're going to go there, and then you're going to move them.
Well, no, they're just moving them out of the affluent areas.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. It's like, hey, like, we don't want this here. We don't want to actually see it. Like, we know that it's here.
Yeah.
We don't want to do anything about it. So we're just going to move you over here and then let you become another community's problem.
Exactly. And then it's, and it's like, oh, well, let's build this facility to house the homeless, right? Well, what's the criteria? What's the red tape going to look like? And that is what I see families go through every day. Like, I have a family right now whose daughter just got the FSW waiver, or granddaughter, excuse me. It's $26,000 a year, which is, I know, is more than most, right? So I'm not going to be rude about it. But when you have a grandma who is the guardian of a 19-year-old individual with disabilities and needs supervision because of her vulnerability, and the grandma is in her 70s and has a home health aide of her own, and is living on a fixed income, what are, you know, like that's...
I think, you know, Indiana is a perfect example of figure it out, and Hoosiers are strong people, and they have been figuring it out for a very long time.
For a very long time.
So it's sort of like you take these very desperate people that are doing the best that they can already, and you're like, let's just make life a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm just going to say it, if you're not white and you need help, you are going to have to beg for it. Grovel.
Oh, yeah. And I can even speak to that on my own because my husband, he's Hispanic. So, you know, my in-laws are Hispanic, and my daughter looks Hispanic.
Okay.
My son looks white.
Oh, well, he lucked out there, didn't he?
He did luck out.
I said that on purpose. I know it sounds bad, right? But, like, I mean, look at the world we're in. Look at the world we're in.
It's so true. And I see that because... like my daughter, there have been times because I'm white and she looks Hispanic that people have looked at me, or like even when she was younger, they thought I was trying to steal her, you know? So like I see that firsthand all the time, and I'm like, there's just no right way. There's no wrong way, but if we all just came together and said like, look, these are the needs, like there's not just a one size fits all for everything, right? And the individuals who are making these decisions at BEADS, at CMA, all the decision makers, I feel like need to come and see what we're doing now, because if they could see, right, that nobody can afford to live, even like, you know, we're full-time moms, full-time workers, and it's still hard.
I'm laughing, and not because it's funny, because in my mind I'm envisioning like these people either sitting in Washington or Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Real Hoosiers, because I know you said you're from Utah, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how this measures up with poorness, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you can kind of do the poorness test here with stuff like, have you ever eaten a fried bologna sandwich? Did you ever have, like, macaroni and hot dogs were the protein in the macaroni?
Yeah.
Spam, anything that comes out of a can.
Mixes.
Ramen. Yeah. Like, this is the poor test here.
Yeah.
And then people are already used to that, and then they're thinning that down.
Yes.
So now we're getting into a situation which is, you know, like 1800 era here.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like we were speaking about earlier with the farmers, for example, now they're going after the farmers. So things are already tight. You don't have access to a lot of food. You don't have access to resources. So you've got people that are gritty that are like, I'm happy to figure it out, but you keep pulling the rug out from underneath me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every time, right, in the nonprofit world, it's still, at the end of the day, even if you're a nonprofit, it's still a business, right?
Sure.
So I feel like every time we make a decent step forward to make some sort of, even if it's a minor impact for one family, out comes something new of like, why this or why that. But that is also a big reason why we decided to stay away from having to mess with Medicaid funding and private insurance funding, because it's such a red tape circus that even if you have it, you don't really have it.
Yeah, it's like, how do we help people? Like, how do we figure this out and actually help people?
Yeah, well, and using the money to help support them, you know, because now you have all these waiver residential companies.
Yeah.
There's like 10 pages of residential companies on the pick list, right? Who can provide residential, PAC, whatever. But then they control the budget. They control the money. And that's how they make, you know, that's how they're getting their money. But they're not really doing the work. They're sitting there. And I'm not saying they don't do the work or they've never done the work. But in my experience, it's about the money.
Always.
And Medicaid is the biggest money scam, I think, because you can make a lot of money and there's no oversight. No oversight, right?
Well, I mean, there's no oversight for the bigger companies. And I think that's the problem, right? I think your general mom and pops and your small nonprofits and things like that, like they're doing the paperwork, they're keeping things in order, they're keeping the receipts because they're terrified. Like, here's this thing that I've built with my reputation, that I want to keep my reputation intact and do the right thing. Like, I've got 2 nonprofits myself that I've bankrolled myself. It is imperative for me to keep my reputation because that is the bedrock of everything.
Yes.
So these small businesses, the small nonprofits or whatever, they're all doing the same thing. It's the bigger ones that feel like we don't have to. Like the same rules don't apply to us. So it's not these little guys down here trying to do good stuff. Yeah.
Well, and then they try to overpower the little ones.
Right.
And buy them out. Or like... Yeah. And then it becomes the money grab again, right? So you have the mom and pops that want to do positive, want to that get it because they get it. Probably started it because they didn't have services or couldn't find what they needed themselves.
Exactly.
You know, I feel like that's almost every parent is like, I should just start one myself. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. But then you have...
But we need more of those people.
Yeah. We need them to be more and the big companies to be less. Because...
Well, that's where government comes in.
That is where they come in.
They're twisting our arm at this point. Like, it's like, you know, they say they don't want to fight. And then they're going after these disability communities and thinking that we'll just roll over. And I think they've got another thing coming. Cause, I mean, roll up into a room full of autism moms.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. If anytime I see anybody, I'm like, please come and see what we do. Please come, spend a day with me, see what we do, see the variety of individuals that we interact with. Because, you know, we don't have a specific type. We don't have a specific criteria. And we did that because I was so upset with all of my clients who couldn't sit for a whole day program or who couldn't be in a small 4-to-1 ratio group, who needed that 1-to-1. Like, that's why we're here, is because that model of day program, that doesn't work for everyone. But you have moms and you have staff that work with these individuals during the day who want to get them out, who want to get them somewhere and just like not isolate. So that's where we're trying to be different than these traditional day programs. And that's why we don't want to be funded by Medicaid or private insurance, because once we do that, we have to comply with their rules and their regulations. But this way, we're allowed to say, hey, you have a daughter who maybe can make it for 30 minutes. Like, come check us out any day of the week. Like, come down, stay as long as you can. Let's build you a toleration program, right? Let's connect you with maybe a BCBA who... we have a BCBA who just joined our team to contract and provide parent education. Like, that's what she's passionate about. We have a SPED teacher who wants to help families understand their rights within the school system and provide tutoring. You know what I'm saying?
I have to say, though, like, I don't love that word SPED.
SPED?
I don't love it. No, because whenever I was in school, which was a long time ago, like, I just remember, and like, no knocks to these people. I think all of them were doing the best that they could. But I just remember the disabled kids walking around, and now that I have disabled children, I'm terrified for them to go to public school. Because I just saw these, like, grown-ups basically in high school that were basically like licking the walls, and I was like, people are going to look at my kids like that, like, and so right now my kids are in ABA school, because now they've passed that rule that there's going to be a lifetime cap of 3 years, which I very much disagree with. They're rolling out of that. Like, by the end of this year, I'm going to have to put them somewhere else. And I am petrified because they've done, same like what you were saying about all the progress, right? Like, my kids have made so much progress. And like today I was telling you about, I was late to the interview because my older son, Kai, was like, not getting out of the car. No. Like, you can offer me whatever. Like, normally, I'm not saying I always offer them candy, but you know how it goes.
You got to sometimes.
We tried the whole thing, all the stuff. Let's get the outfits. They brought the wagon out. We dug all the toys out of the back seat. All of it. And finally, the RBT got in the bag, was like digging to the bottom of the bag to look for the Starburst.
Yeah.
Because she's like, right, maybe this will work.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not hungry. It's like, ah. But I mean, that is a typical experience for someone that has a child that is either on the spectrum, has some type of sensory issue.
Yes.
It's like, sometimes you don't know what it is. It might be the smallest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it just screws up their whole day, which then means it screws up everybody's day.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
a lot of these kids, when it's like no means no, which is great. It's great that they're learning that.
Yeah.
But then you have to convince them where it's like, hey, that's great that you know that, but it can't be that all the time or for the things that you want.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what that must look like with adults, I guess is my point. So like
Yeah.
I'm terrified for my 6-year-old or my, 4-year-olds to go
Yeah.
into public school because I'm petrified that they will regress.
Yes.
There won't be enough staff there to handle them, or that they will be mishandled because the staff won't have the tools, or they won't care because they're understaffed. And now the state is also pushing that. And then to hear from your perspective with the grown-ups, it's just all bad.
It's all bad.
It's all bad.
Straight up from the bottom to the top. It's
Yeah.
all bad.
Yeah.
The whole system, I think, it's almost like
It's not helping anybody.
No, it's almost like everybody is working on their own model, but nobody is trying to come together to bring everybody's model together, if that makes sense. Like a lot of these ABA programs, right, I think the schools in the ABA program should work together. Like if you have a kiddo who's going to be transitioning out into school, like you should be working on school and communication and advocacy and like sitting at a desk.
I think they do.
To some degree. Now, that's not the only thing, but
Yeah.
the other side of that is, if you have a good team, I can't speak for all teams, but when you have a good team who, does assent based, right, where you let that child advocate, but yet you also lay down very firm boundaries of like, yes, you can advocate, but there are also times where you just have to do it because this is their responsibility for the day. Right. And I think that is where it's kind of like hard for me as in my area and what I do and why I've never really committed to being in a clinic or being in waiver or being here or there is because you need all of it. You need that school, you need that community, you need that home. Like all of that needs to be encompassed in every single day that you're working on an ABA.
Yeah.
And unless you find a good BCBA or a good clinic, then my fear is that you only have 3 years now.
Well, I think too, right? Like my son has a lot of behaviors, and it took him a while to find his people, like to really get acclimated enough.
Yeah.
I mean, man, he struggled. And sometimes he still struggles. Like we just got a diagnosis of ADHD. We just started medication. And then they wanted to switch the medication because it wasn't working perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the insurance doesn't want to approve it. So then you're fighting with the insurance company. And then they go off medication for a while. Like all this roller coaster of,
red tape.
Figuring out the stuff,
Yeah.
right? Which like most parents are happy to do, because like what parent wants to give their kid medication? Nobody. But you're doing the best you can constantly, and they just keep making you jump through more and more hoops.
Oh yeah.
And these are just for the disabled kids. I'm not saying that the other kids don't have problems too, right? But it's like you have so few people, it seems like, in these kids' lives. That really, really care about them. And I guess that's the core of it for me. It's like my kids finally found their people, and I just don't think they're ready to leave their people yet. And that's what makes me nervous.
Yeah.
So then you have a lot of moms that are now starting to ask themselves, like maybe they've already become the caretaker.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe they've already entered into that program and left the workforce to take care of their child full time. I know that's next.
Yeah.
I know they're going to go after that next. I've already heard conversations about it. So now they don't want people in institutions. They don't want to pay their parents less to take care of them.
Yes.
They don't want to provide the resources. It's like, what do you actually want to do with these people?
They should just, and that's what they should say. Like, they should just be straight up. I think if in my experience working in this field, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like, just be straight up honest about what you're doing. Like, cut the bullshit.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? Cut the bullshit, because we need to know. We need to know, because there's 1.3-ish million people in the state of Indiana, right, who have a disability, registered, diagnosed disability, right? And that's 1.3 million people who you're affecting not only their life, but every single person that interacts with them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And if you're going to cut something or cut their funding or say, no, parents have to like work, well, then how are you going to provide for two parents who have to provide full-time care when now you're not willing to pay them as a staff? What are they going to do? How are they going to make a living, right? Or I had one parent ask me the other day, do they just want me to quit my job and like lose my life, like lose my house because they're cutting his budget and he needs total care? Yeah. And I'm like, that's exactly what they like, what it is.
I think we're just, I'm just going to say it. This is what I think. It's like a straight up war on disability and autism. And we need to suss out who are the allies and who are the enemies.
Yeah.
And that's straight up. It's like, if we put you in that seat, this is not a party issue, right? Irregardless, like, your duty is to your constituents, right?
Yes.
So now, like you said, you've got a bunch of people in the state, every state, but we're just talking about
we're
Indiana for now. Like, you now do not feel as an elected politician by your constituency that part of your constituency is not worth serving. So let's say, for example, I'll use my family.
Okay.
Because we'll just get into it. So my parents are Republicans.
Okay.
I am not. There are probably some things that maybe we share opinions on because we are both, you know, sets of Hoosiers. Grew up in Indiana. Family has been here for a long time. Farming, rural community. My kids have disabilities. They're their grandchildren. My experience as their mother is different from them as their grandparents. I'm going to care more about what happens in the state, about what happens with all other resources, because I'm going to be alive longer. Hopefully.
Yes.
Right? Hopefully I'll outlive.
Yeah.
I mean, not knock on wood, right? I don't want to make anybody like, but I'm just saying, like, strategically, if I live longer than my parents, my decision for my kids should matter more.
Yes.
All of us just have one vote, and that's how it should be. But I just don't think the politicians or the extensions of the family members who aren't as affected by the disability, they don't see it the same way, right? So it's like a second cousin of someone that has autism is not going to have the same response as the mother or the father or the sister or the brother, you know?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I think it's sometimes individuals are used as pawns instead of like to promote the idea that you're inclusive. Like, just because you have a family member who has a disability doesn't automatically mean you're part of this community. If, in my opinion, I think to be part of the community, you have to really be an advocate, because a lot of our individuals can't advocate for themselves or don't understand how to advocate for themselves. But also you need to understand who really is affected, right? It's not the whole family. Right. It's the people that live every single day with that individual, whether it be the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister, or maybe it's the support staff. Sure. Right? And maybe that is also their family. So I think that is the big component as well that we're missing, is that, you know, it's not about where you are or who you know. It's about not using them as a pawn and saying, look, these are real people with real issues. And yeah, that's great. You have a cousin with autism twice removed down the line, whatever, right? But like, do you really deal with them every single day from the time they wake up, or maybe they don't even sleep? Like, I have multiple sleep deprivation clients, right? So like, their parents are up all throughout the night, and then they're up all throughout the day.
The autism parents, we always have this conversation. Like, my children go to bed later and they sleep through the night generally. But I have friends of mine that are in the autism community that like, we'll joke about it. It's like, oh, the kid's awake at like 2 a.m. Like, turn on the coffee because it's party time.
Yeah, I have a adult male who has Angelman syndrome, and he has his sleep disorder, like, it's so serious. Sometimes, now, not every night, right? But, like, I've even had conversations with his mom about, like, he takes so many pills to make him sleep and help him sleep, because he also has tremors.
Okay.
Right? So when he doesn't get good sleep, he's more likely to have a tremor the next day because his body is exhausted.
Right.
So it's like, then now it's like all about shoving pills. And it's like, why don't, and she's like, well, I don't want him to be on all of these.
Right.
I want to take him off and see what's working. Why are these not working? But then if he's in a residential setting or in the home and you do a med wash, now we're like in a whole nother world of trouble because we don't know what's going to happen. Or you put them in, you don't have a facility, right, that could help you appropriately find medication, maybe do a med wash, because if you're taking 10 medications at night and 6 of them are supposed to help you sleep and you're still up at 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're not working. So there's no reason to take them. And I would advocate for that.
I mean, there's just so many issues. I mean, let's just talk about elopement for just for a little bit, right? Like, it drives me insane that for some reason we've elevated ourselves in society to think it's totally acceptable to have multiple dog parks, multiple fenced-in dog parks. Drive past them, don't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Totally cool. But it, like, evades us that we should have more human parks that are fenced in, because all children, when they're small, are at risk of elopement, but especially the ones with disabilities. And then now you take into account the adults, right? That they still need to go outside. Yeah. But, like, how safe will it be for this 6'5" giant of a person with a disability that their mom's like, hey, I just want to take him to the park, but then he's like, squirrel.
Yep.
And then booking it towards the road or whatever. Like, we have to really sit with these types of conversations and decide that we want to help other humans. Yeah. Like, that this is something that we need to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think it's more of a, like, have to do at this point, because they've at this point, going into 2026, we were limited, right? We were limited before, but now we are severely limited. I think not only in, Medicaid waiver or like consulting or other therapies, right? Like music or rec, right? But in ABA, in the schools, like schools are losing funding to provide that support to our individuals, right? And that was one of our big pushes behind hiring teachers who are in special education, because we see it, right? We see those individuals who come from ABA who are doing really good, and then we see that regression, right? Those teachers see, like, oh, they did so good, and now we can't provide that one-on-one because the school's funding is cut. Sure. Or, you have a client, for example, I had a family who their daughter was supposed to be one-on-one. They didn't have her one-on-one. She choked and ended up in the hospital. Ugh. So now the school is paying for, like, an outside support service to ensure that she's always got staff with her, right? But why did it have to take that?
Yeah, you damn near have to die to get support.
And then just like the waiver services, right? We know that there's not enough money, obviously.
Sure.
As a nation, we're in debt to the max, right? So we already know that it's about the money, right? It's about how do we fund all this? But then you have individuals who need support, who apply for the waiver, right, to get that 24-hour care, who the only way you get approved for CIH funds is if you're dead, dying. You turn your child over to the state as a ward of the state, basically, and say, like, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I don't know any parent, unless they are literally, I think I've seen it or heard of it twice in my career or my lifetime, of parents saying, like, I can't do this anymore. And it's literally because they were so old and couldn't get the crap beat out of them anymore.
Well, I think there's a lot. There's a lot. But we're showing recently what we value. And not being able to provide loans to people to go into these fields like yours that we need. There's a shortage, and that's going to be catastrophic.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have parents that are at their wits end already.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, people ask me all the time, like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I don't have no idea. I don't have an option.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the advocacy, right? I'm like, you know what? I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice because what is my alternative? And what are all these other families' alternative? You know, we're already doing everything we can.
Yeah.
The advocacy is natural whenever you see the disparity between things and you're like, right, okay, well, I'm basically doing this anyway. Let me just step forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get like the super advocates, because they're like, fuck it. You know what? Like, now I'm going balls in because you guys aren't listening. You're not doing your job. And if you need me to go to the state house, go to your office, whatever, pound on my chest, send the email, whatever, I'm going to make you listen.
Yes.
Because you're not listening. You don't care. You don't see us. So, yeah, if it takes a bunch of moms taking their disabled children to DC, whatever. This is what is frustrating. It's like, we already did that. We already did that with the ADA. They were literally kids crawling the steps from their wheelchairs. Like, why do we have to go back?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's literally like going back in time. Going back in time and doing...
Like, that was President George Bush 1.
Yeah.
Not 2. Right? I mean, just put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Like, some of these people watching probably weren't even alive then.
Yeah.
Like, I'm showing my age, right? But
That's
like,
okay. I was around then. So
But I was a little kid. Like, and these kids that were crawling the steps were older than me.
Yeah.
You know?
But that is also too, like, how long has our community been fighting? And how long have people not been listening?
Right.
And it's now to a point where we have so much, and this is, again, my opinion, but we have so much hysteria going around about how to cure these things.
Right.
Right? And I'm all about a cure if that's for freaking real. But I'm sorry, like, find me one. And then, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, how about this? If there is a cure, provide it to me by a medical professional that has been studying said thing for generations with a team that has evidence from multiple countries. Like, I don't want bullshit. I want real facts. I'm not interested in what RFK has to say about anything. It's like, shut up, man. You know, I don't want to hear personally, and I'm sure you probably feel the same because we talked about the military stuff too, but it's like, give me a person that knows what it's like to eat Spam out of a can.
Yes.
That is knee deep in shit, changing diapers and stuff like that. Like, these are the people that I want to represent me in the House, in Congress, at the presidency at this point. Like, show me people that have lived a normal American life that will pick up the phone and say, you know what? I'm not saying that I can solve it all, but I'm saying I will speak to you. I will look at you in the eyes. I will talk to you like a human being because I know what it was like. I know what it was like to, I don't know, be on WIC, stand at the grocery store, or look at the labels trying to figure out, like, what's on the WIC list, what's not. Like,
or what dietary restrictions are going to be in this, and what's in this, and what's in that, because my kid can't have this, and my kid can't have that, or we've got this allergy, or we've got this sensitivity that then affect the behavior. Yeah, it's
like, I'm just done with their bullshit.
Yeah, well, and
you have so many people, like, man, we're really going into the politics headstrong, but I feel like all roads lead to that because we've already done all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And now we need, like, very firm advocates that are no bullshit, that we can welcome into our community and be like, right, you want to see how this works?
Yeah.
We will show you all of it, the full book, but we'll hold you accountable.
Yeah.
If we elect you, you better pick up that phone because then we're going to be beating down your door because we've had enough.
Yeah. Well, and it should be that way. I think if you're going to say that you represent a community or you're there for the community, like, that's what you should do. And I'm really a big advocate in people who are supposed to be leaders. Like, if they were never in a spot to know what the bottom of the barrel employee or person is doing, right? If you've never been at the bottom or the middle and you kind of get you get a fake facade.
Yeah.
Because like you don't get the shit thrown at you. You don't get knocked out. You don't.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. Like I've had concussions. I've had chunks of my arm bit off. I've almost lost my finger. I've almost lost my eye. Like I've had some serious injuries to me. And
sounds like you might maybe you should run for office.
well, I would love that.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I'll think about it.
We need more advocates. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
like we need people like in the trenches that whenever they speak about something, like you can see in their face, like, oh, she's been there.
Yeah, well, and that's why I can't watch a lot of political things, because I like every time I feel like somebody opens their mouth on a topic that I'm passionate about, I'm like, you've never fucking been there.
Just like shut up, sit down.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could walk into a house and know that every day would be a great day, like, and I know there are some clients and some people where every day really is a good day. And I love those types of people. I love being around them, right? But again, that is not everybody. But those people are the ones that we highlight because they're easier. They're easier to market and make propaganda and freaking all the bullshit that goes with making somebody look like they're really for the disability. No. Yeah. Come with me and come see my client who literally will beat the shit out of me on a regular basis if I take his freaking cookies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come spend the day with me and see how it is. And that is where sometimes I'll just be listening to the news or something. I'm like, I have to turn this off because I'm just going to get myself all pissed off because they don't get it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've really leaned in heavy to the advocacy the past year. And I think just to keep your sanity, you have to have a pause button. Like, I'll repost, like I try, and the goal of reposting the stuff is not to make people feel bad or, you know, all the negative feelings that people may have, but it's just to get information out there where it's like, hey, if you're not in these communities or if you're not sure, and then I come across a video that's like a normal person is filming to show you something, I'm going to repost it because that's what advocacy is about. Yeah. Like if ICE is pulling some disabled person, I'm going to show you that. Yeah. Because I'm an advocate. Yeah. I'm really like more of an activist at this point, to be honest. But like,
well, we've got to be. We don't have a choice. We don't. I mean, you have families who wrote letters, go to these public forums, go to these open houses or whatever to speak to these people and share their stories. And it's almost like sometimes I just want to like be like, why the fuck do you do that? Because you really don't give a shit. Because if you gave a shit, then all these changes that are happening would not be freaking happening. Because every single parent that I have talked to, and I'm sure you have talked to as well, is furious about the changes and the decreases because they lose out on the support, the very minor support. Yeah. That they had,
which you had to wait for a very long time to get anyway.
And now, right, like now you have to wait even longer. So it was what, a 36-month, 3-year wait list before, and now one of the waivers is closed. They're not even opening it up to anybody. So you just sit.
My family's been on the wait list. I don't know, like probably for 2 years or something like that. I don't even bother. Like maybe in the future we may get it. Like, but that's why I'm doing all this advocacy. I'm not just doing it for my family. I'm doing it for all the families. Because like you said, I talk to people and I hear the stories, and I've met the kids who are now maybe teenagers or adults, and I hear the stories of like, oh, my kid was an ABA for 8 years and they legitimately needed it. Or, you know, my kid used to bite themselves or bite me or whatever, or smear whatever all over the wall. Like, this is people's normal. Yeah. But it also doesn't mean that you have to like institutionalize these people. Like, their families want to care for them. They love them. They just need a little help.
Yeah. And every single person can be successful in a residential setting. I think that's when we go back again to, it's not a one size fits all. Put in a box, fix the problem. Like, every single person, just like us as typical humans.
Yes.
Like, we don't live the same way.
Right.
Our mannerisms, like our behaviors, like it's not all shaped the same way.
Right.
So why are we expecting individuals who already have a learning disability in a way, but also have these other issues that they can't help, right? And now we're trying to put them in a box and say, okay, this fixes it all. Like, you need to rely on your natural supports. You need to rely on the DSP. Well, what if there's no DSP? What if there's no natural supports? Like, God forbid any of these parents were to, like, kill over, you know? And I hate to say it that way, but I have parents say that to me all the time. Parents in their 70s that say, what happens to me when I'm dead? Like, what happens to him?
I'm thinking about that now with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, no one knows what the future may hold.
Mm-mm.
I'm a single parent. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, nobody, I don't want to say nobody, right? But like, many people don't necessarily go into this alone, but they often end up alone because it's challenging. And what I continue to see are single mothers.
Yes.
I'm not saying there aren't any single fathers. I'm sure there are. I've just not met any.
I've not met any.
No.
I'm
sure there are, like I said, because I don't want to discount them, but it just kind of seems like if you're married, in a relationship, whatever, when you start, and then you have a child, that other person might stick around for a bit, but the amount of care and services and therapies and whatever, it just kind of seems like at some point from the stories that I've heard from women primarily, it's like they can't serve both. They can't serve their spouse and their child. So then the spouse eventually is like, well, this isn't part of the agreement that we made. And so they leave.
Yeah.
And then they leave this woman with that child who now is saddled with everything. Maybe they pay child support, maybe they don't, but like, this is still their kid and they're doing the best that they can. Anyway, like I hear all these stories about
it's all
families, right? Like the new language of the heritage bullshit 2026. I hear a lot of like family, and I'm like, you guys wouldn't understand what a family meant if it smacked you in the face because you want slaves.
Yeah.
You want a nation of females that are slaves. And most of us are already kind of doing that thing. And nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. And like, this is what, like, I heard one of the Indiana senators talking about this the other day with the whole redistricting thing. And I was like, wow. Just talking about what he thought Hoosiers wanted and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're clueless. You are like, you have no idea. You clearly haven't even taken a walk probably around your own neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or if it is your neighborhood, it's all rich people.
Yeah.
That have stuff and have people, probably have people mowing their yard sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like some of these people, when I hear them speak, I'm like, I can already tell. I could sit down with you. You probably wouldn't have anyone of color in your area. Probably not in your family. And even if you did, you're not talking to them at Christmas dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and these are not the type of people that we need speaking for us, and especially the disability community, because they will be the exact ones that are like, aren't you sweet?
Yeah.
Just, you know, they say a nice way about basically figuring it out. And I'm just done with all that.
Yeah. Well, and that's like our big push at Connie's right now is to just bring parents in. You know, like, just come see us.
Right.
Let's figure out where you are. Let's figure out what you need. And let's find the services that you need, because we can't give it all. We're going to try our best to fill the needs and find the people because we've been really lucky this past year to, you know, get a decent space, have multiple areas to be able to provide these things. And so now it's just about all these families going through these changes and letting them know, like, we are a safe space to just come and be here and mingle with our staff and let us know what you need, so that way we can find it.
Right.
Like, that's the only way I think to fix the system, because I know some things, right? So obviously I've already started on some things, but it's like, I know there is so much more and so many more gaps that need to be filled, that we could fill with the advocates that we have in our community if we were to all just come together. right? It's all of us finding a way to bring our OT or our speech and bring it all together and have a common place to bring it in one home where families could come and say, hey, we have music therapy at 10, or hey, we have a couple free one-on-one session, stuff like that, to bring not only out of isolation, because I fear that will start happening again.
For sure.
We're going to go back into like COVID, where nobody comes out of the house. We do only delivery orders. Behaviors will start
more
ramping up. Yep, abuse will, more IRs. So that's really been our big push as we continue through all these different changes with really everything, because it's all insurances, all everything, medication. We have several families who we help just figure out how to appeal to medication.
Right.
Because, as you know, there may be alternatives, but if you're anything like a normal kiddo with disability, it may not affect you. You may have no benefit from it. So, like, I have individuals who, when they have surgery, they have a hyperactive reaction to general anesthesia, or they've had to be off certain medications for like depression because it actually does the opposite, or has that reverse effect. And I think that's the other part that parents don't realize, is sometimes when you start medication, you don't really see the effects right away, but then like not all the things that would be considered a typical side effect are going to be apparent. So it takes as a parent, you have to be very vigilant, or as a caregiver, you have to be very vigilant. And I think that stress adds a whole nother layer of stress to parents, because it's like, okay, we gave our kid this medication, he could go to sleep and something could happen in the middle of the night, or, and it's just like, there's got to be a better way that doesn't involve an institution, that we as a community can rally together. And it's not about Connie's Clubhouse making millions of dollars. It's not about your companies making millions of dollars, right? It's about how can the community bridge the gaps in the system that are already broken ourselves, because only we know what we need. And we as a community can fund that and work together and find the sponsorships and find the funding and find everything we need to really help ourselves, because it's been very obvious that nobody is watching out for us.
Yeah. Well, I think, there are people working on some things. Yeah. It generally always tends to be the women, for whatever reason.
Always.
And I'm okay with that. But it seems really easy to say it out loud, and we just need people to listen. But it's like, just play to your strengths. Yep. We all have a different skill set. And if we combine those, magic happens. But I think there's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of, I don't want to let go of the purse. I don't want to let go of the influence. And that's really kind of what has to happen. And like I said, hate to keep circling back to this, but it seems like all roads end up leading to some type of government, because essentially they're the ones that hold the purse. And we just need to put people in there that will see the necessity in bringing people together to release the purse strings a little, where it's like, hey, you know what? We are a community, and, we don't have to do it alone. And let's put the fingers out in the community to find all these people that do all these things. Like, vet them. I get it. Like, do all that sort of thing. People don't want Medicaid fraud and things, which, everybody knows it's not the individual people anyway. It's always corporations that are doing any of the Medicaid fraud anyway. But it's like, find it, hold these larger corporations accountable, then you will get the money that you are missing to do all of the other things. Yeah,
exactly. And just like you said, it all leads back to the people who are really calling the shots. And if they really, truly, I would think if these individuals in government really wanted to make change, they would be in these offices of these different ABA therapy companies and at these residentials, like, what is going on? Because you have all of them living in horrible conditions because they make $900 a month, if not more, if their parents are deceased. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to be able to remember where you started and pull yourself back. And I think that helps me be an advocate, because I remember being a kid and feeling very out of place and very alone and always wondering why I was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did I not fit in? Why was it really weird? Like, always having weird friendships where I didn't really understand, like, the dynamic of the friendship, but I knew, like, we were at least friends. You know what I'm saying? So, like, some of that social stuff. So, I think that just remembering those sorts of things of, like, where you come from, why do you get into this, why are you doing it, and then with my own personal experience just being in the Marine Corps, like, I'm not afraid of people in big suits because I've talked to colonels, I've talked to generals, I've had people of higher level status really in my face yelling at me like I was the scum of the earth. And I didn't do anything. I'm not the scum, right? But I think that that's helped me advocate as a professional doing what I'm doing now, because I'm not afraid to stand toe to toe with somebody and say, prove it.
Right.
Show me the data. Show me the information that you're saying, because right now I'm calling bullshit.
Right.
Because we're Indiana, we are a poor state, medium class, and then you have, like I said, you have all these families who not only have to support themselves, but when you get in a residential, you also have to support your loved one. So there's just more challenges that create.
I will say this, though, and this is why I say we need more regular people in office, because I think it just seems really clear who has a backbone and who doesn't. And I am of the opinion that if you have someone that has, like, firsthand dealt with some type of disability, whether they have one themselves, whether they're a caretaker for someone that has a disability, these people are natural advocates for everybody else, because they have seen the shit show and they have filled out the paperwork and they have been underneath their stove light, talking about myself, but I know it's like everybody, like standing underneath your stove light because your kids or you're trying to make sure that they sleep, and it's like 2:00 in the morning and you're almost asleep yourself and you have to go to work at like 7 and you're filling out the paperwork because that's what you do, and you're just constantly filling out paperwork. Like, these are the type of people that we need in office that can cut through all this paperwork and all this bullshit and be like, right, you know what, this works, this doesn't, I'm not an expert in this. Let me find an expert. Let me listen to this panel of people that are experts. Like, these are the type of people that are good team players. And we need good team players, but also that have a backbone and are also essentially willing to take a bullet for it.
Oh, yeah. And I don't feel like we have those right now. I feel like they're
soft.
And just pull them away.
I wouldn't let them watch my cat, most of them. Well, I don't have a cat, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, and it's more of like it's soft, but it's like I said, I'm just really big. Like, I'm a person about, like, being straight up. Like, I want the truth. I want you to give it to me straight up. I don't care if it's mean. I don't care if you say it. Like, I have some friends who will be like, okay, I'm going to say this, but it's going to be, like, very business professional.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, I need you to tell me the truth, because when you give me some bullshit or, like, try to give me some fluff, then you're giving false hope. And if there's no hope, that's what I need to be able to tell my families. Not, oh, we're working to do this, and oh, it's going to be so much blood. Like, bullshit. It's not. It's not better. We've overspent. Now we're in a serious crisis, and because you fucked up, our people pay for it.
Right.
But how come our people have to pay for it when you, as the people who run the program and approve the budgets and watch the money and do all the things, how did you mess up so bad to a point where you're not only cutting funding from people, you're also not giving any more funding to people?
Well, take it back from these corporations that they let move in from different states and just fleece the system, basically. Like, how are you going to let other companies, like virtual companies or shell companies, sort of, come in, jack up the price because you didn't make sure that the rules were clear enough, and then you have companies that are Indiana based that were trying to follow the rules and are still trying to follow the rules, and everybody suffers. I'm like, it's it always goes back to the corporations. It's not like your typical people. It's not your smaller businesses. It's always these larger ones.
Yeah.
And they always run away with the money.
Always.
Always. And it's like, catch me if you can.
Yeah. And that's why that is like the biggest, that's why I just think insurance in total, like, you know, I'm lucky I have it. I'm lucky I haven't. I'm on insurance. Sure. I'm sure everybody is. But I just think it's such a big scam. Like the people at the end of the day who are at these corporations, who run these insurance companies, like it's such a big scam because even with medical stuff, right? Not even in the world of disabilities. We could even go to like traditional, right?
Yeah.
You have all the red tape. You got to fill out the form. You got to do the medication. You need the weight loss medication. You got to do X, Y, and Z. First, we got to do X, Y, and Z. Well, you missed that appointment. Now let's go back and restart from the beginning. Or you need this medication for your seizure or your blood pressure. Well, now we don't approve it. Why don't you approve it? Because now it's more expensive, or we've decided to go here where it's cheaper, but that medication isn't just like this medication. Yes. So now we got to change the dosage. And it's like, why cause all of that extra headache other than for the money? Because these corporations, like you said, want the money. Mm-hmm. But you're already profiting so much. And then that's where I get pissed, because I'm like, now you're being greedy.
Oh, for sure.
And I hate
the level of greed in this country is just, it's insane. But that's how we landed here, right? Like everything's about greed. And, you know, these larger corporations, like they can just never have enough. It's like a sickness. And, you know, I'm a fan of universal health care. Mm-hmm. I think that it's doable. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in Europe. I have really good friends of mine in Canada. I'm not saying there's a perfect system, but I'm saying the one that we have does not work.
Yes.
It doesn't benefit most people. And now you have a bunch of people that are getting ready to not have it. Like I have a friend of mine that she was a previous cancer patient. Okay. And she's not going to be able to afford to have health care because of the increase. So, you know, like with anybody, but especially if you had cancer previously.
Yeah, you're
more at risk. And now she's had to like take a look at her finances, and she's like, I just can't. Like, it's going to be the first time in my life for quite a few years that I'm going to have to roll the dice and go without health insurance. And I'm like, for one of the most, I know a lot of people say the rich, right? Yeah. But leave it open to argument. One of the richest nations in the world.
Yeah.
The state of affairs with our health insurance and our health in general, like nobody even wants to go to the doctor because they don't want to get hit with a bill. So like I am one of these. Mm-hmm. Thank God I have it. My kids need it. But I myself, like something generally really has to be wrong with me for me to go, because there's just no time for me because I'm at the end because I'm busy taking care of everybody else.
Yeah.
So, and then when you do go, like maybe you might be able to get into like the local doctor that's sort of close to your house. But a lot of these people are having to go to your closest emergency room because they can't get in if something is really wrong with them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these places are getting ready to close. Mm-hmm. Like it is going to be a colossal shit show.
It is going to be, yes.
And people are going to die.
Oh yeah. I think there is going to be a huge increase in abuse, neglect, exploitation in all fields, because it's going to be, because even now, like going to an emergency room, even if you have insurance, you're still getting a couple $100 to $1,000 bill, regardless of what your deductible, you know, whatever that, but that's across all insurance. How
and
they
you know,
all
we're
are
one
now.
of the only nations in the world where people can lose their house for medical debt. It doesn't happen a lot of other places. Like there's protections in places, and like these are the types of things that Americans don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
There are a lot of other nations around the world that have like some variation of universal health care that also Americans help subsidize. And they don't know that either. Like we have just had the wool pulled over our eyes to the extreme, and then on top of all of it, right? Yeah. The powers that be, because of greed, are so busy now breaking the American public apart, and pitting everybody against one another for the smoke and mirrors so they can get more money. I mean, it's just obscene.
Yeah, it's totally crazy. I think that it's just, the worst is yet to come. I guess is how I could, is the best way I guess I could put it. And the only thing that I think that we can really do is just keep advocating, keep fighting, keep, I love taking clients with me when I go to meetings or go to different corporations and partnerships to meet with people, even if it's like a 15-minute walk-in, whatever, because it gives them an opportunity to see, right? Because a lot of times when I take clients in, I never know if they're going to be good or if they're going to lose their shit.
Right. Yeah.
This is a new environment for me, new environment for you. Rolling the dice on it, right? Yeah. Usually I have a parent or somebody come with me for the in case, right? But it's because that's real.
Yeah.
Like walking into that space and losing your shit, that could happen at the grocery store with a mom.
Oh, easily.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I just took my kid the other day, his therapy appointment got canceled. So then I had to hold on to him longer because then they didn't have a therapist for him at school. So I'm like, right, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him into Ace Hardware. There's not really toys there. We'll just kind of it'll be an experiment. We'll kind of try it out. Then they had a whole tree section. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. These ornaments and candy canes and all this stuff. So, to allow them to look, which is great because it's an experience, but then also teach them, right? Let's not pick that up, or no, we can't do that, or let's leave that behind. All those basic things that people don't get to see. And then you see someone that's bigger than you expect have problems with it. Like my son, he's 6, but he's a head shorter than me.
Okay.
Yeah. So people look at him and they probably think, oh, he's 10.
Yeah.
And if he has a behavior and you're having to wrestle him to the ground sort of thing to keep him safe.
Yeah.
Because of whatever.
Yeah.
Or because you need to take a thing that might be sharp. All that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The looks. I mean, parents,
the judgment.
They never want to take their kid out. So when they try, right? When they try and they're like, right, we're going to try and do a thing. We're going to try and learn a new skill. And they know walking into it,
they're already nervous.
The anxiety of the parent, the fear of the parent walking into it to try a new thing.
Yeah.
We have to be having more of these conversations because especially with people talking about things like, let's cure autism. And then family members, for example, saying, just give them a chance. And you're like, what? No, I'm not going to give them a chance because they're not a medical professional and they look crazy right now. They don't look like they've ever sat with a child all night that has autism.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not going to listen to you.
And you can't, I'm very big too, and I'm sure you are too. I'm very hard to when you meet me, I'm very nice. I'll be very polite.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean we're good. You know what I'm saying? You really got to be somebody that's in the circle that gets it and understands what I'm about. Mm-hmm. Because if not, then you're just kind of here for the show. You're here for the site to be in my freaking way. And I don't like that. But, and some parents, I have one parent who literally carries a pad on the book bag because we never know when he's going to try and take out a wall. Right. Sure. But it's he came with me and we presented at a meeting and he stood up there with me for the whole 30 minutes.
Great.
And we've never done that before. I didn't expect that. But it's those are moments, right? And he's got profound disability where I'm none of these people have probably ever seen somebody who has a profound disability stand up here and be able to be like this for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's taken me 4 years to get him to be able to be out in the community to some degree for longer than 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But to see that and know holy shit.
You're high five, we did it.
Yeah, we were high-fiving. He went around and gave people knuckles. It was he was a typical person giving a speech about what we're trying to do and bring to the community.
Right.
And the feedback I got was wow, we've never seen, we've never had a presentation like that before. We've never had somebody bring an individual in like that to be part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's why?
Well, the conversation's about them. They should be there.
Exactly.
They need a seat at the table.
Well, and they need to be the only people at the table. Like, they need to be front and center, and the rest of us are behind them. Like, those are the people we're fighting for. And the other part of this is, like, there's individuals with a disability, right, who can walk, talk, manage themselves, pretty independent. Like, yes, there are different degrees of disability. There are different variations of levels and abilities and those sorts of things. But stop highlighting the positive shit with all these people who are super independent and can do things. Do I love those individuals? Love them to death. Mm-hmm. Do I have the fun with them? Well, yes, I do. But let's get real, because more of our society now and as we progress into the future are going to be on that lower end of ability level. Like, not this higher functioning where they can live on their own and do things and party. And, you know, I love the show Love on the Spectrum. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
I like that show. But I think that just highlights a very fake image of what we deal with.
Well, and, you know, kind of playing into that. So I don't know if I told you this, but I'm also on the spectrum.
Okay.
And I started kind of more as a, like, child advocate because of my kids.
Yeah.
And after watching my kids for a period of time, I was like, pretty sure I did that as a kid. But, you know, like women, they're high masking. Mm-hmm. Not all, but some, especially the ones that test later. So, like, I'm just more now trying to, like, do more of the adult advocacy.
Yeah.
Because I fall in this category of, like, the invisible. Where it's like someone can look at someone like me and be like, oh, she has her shit together. And like, no, I do not.
Yeah.
Or like, I try really hard to. Or like, I masked my entire life.
Yep.
And I did everything I was supposed to do that I thought people wanted me to do.
Yep.
But internally, like, I was a mess, or I was like a ball of anxiety or whatever. So I'm kind of one of that type.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, people need to see that too, because they have more of that in their families as well. Right. So it's sort of like gayness, right? Like, I'm also part of the LGBTQIA plus community, but like, where there's one, there's many. Yeah. You got a gay in your family, you've probably got another one. If you have an autistic in your family, most likely you've got another one somewhere. And I think the difference is we lived, especially in the rural communities, in more of communities. So like, unless you had someone that was like very, very apparent.
Yeah.
You know, like someone with Down syndrome or something like that. They also weren't taken out of the community. They were embraced by the community. But everybody else was just expected to do. And if you could adhere to whatever standard that was, you were fine. Didn't have to worry about it. Right? Even if maybe in a lot of areas of your life you were actually probably failing or not doing as well as you could have.
Yep.
And now all of these people that were undiagnosed are now having children.
Yep.
And now science has advanced to a point, thank God, where it's like, right, okay, you know, that like weird uncle or that quirky aunt or whatever probably had autism.
Yeah, they weren't just quirky.
No, and they were like trying their hardest. Yeah. And then, you know, this is why I'm so irritated by the RFK stuff. Because I'm like,
oh, he pisses me off.
I'm not saying, like, I'm not an expert, right?
Yeah.
But what I know is this. There are more of us out there than people know. And what I'm seeing right now is in times of desperation, we're pulling together like superheroes, like a fucking tractor beam.
Hell yeah.
That's how I see it. Where it's like, okay, like all the weirdos unite sort of thing. Hate to say weirdos, but you know what I mean? Like all those kids that maybe some people thought, like, why are you so concerned about that? Like, why are you so focused on this one thing? All of those people had specific skill sets, and all of those people's like alarm bells are ringing right now. Yeah. And they're like actively seeking others out.
Yeah. And they're actively seeking out the help that they need because they're, you know, realizing that it's not, well, too, right. When you were younger, much like myself, mental health and behavioral health was like a no-no. You know what I'm saying? Like,
especially for girls. It was just
for women it was crazy. Like women don't have, like, there's nothing wrong with you. I remember being a kid and like just being,
don't be hysterical.
Don't, why are you like that? What's wrong with you? Like, what do you mean you don't get it? Blah, 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 blah. Or just internalizing, like trying to process it, you know, and now as an adult, you know, I've gotten my own mental health situated so I can actually semi-function.
Sure.
Right. And I don't have to mask, but it's also like made my fuel and my hunger even more, because I'm like, I don't want anyone to feel the way I felt for 30 years.
Right.
I want everyone to understand that no matter who you are, what your background is, mental diagnostic, like, can affect you.
Right.
Whether you don't have anybody in your family, it doesn't matter, you know. And I think that has been something that now luckily is more focused on, is that mental health and that behavioral health and understanding that. But like you said, that's also why we have more of these disability diagnosis, because we were all taught to mask and not say shit.
Well, yeah, especially if you're a girl.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I heard this, I can't remember where it was probably on TikTok, but anyway, I thought it was hysterical. And anytime I run across like an ADHD, autism, or ADHD person, like, I just love it, because now I'm like, wow, my people.
Yeah.
But this girl, you can tell she's like laying on a bed, and she's talking about, I want to tell you why I decided at 10 years old that I was never going to get married. I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
So it was hysterical. It was it was informative. I found it hysterical, but it just goes into like the mindset of the autistic brain. And every time I run across someone that either self-identifies or thinks that they're on the spectrum or whatever, like, it's just so nice to be around my people, because I instantly get it. I'm like instantly driving with you, and we can just hop from one conversation to the next.
Yeah.
And like, I can follow the line. It can be a zigzag and all over the place, but I'm like, I'm following you. Keep going.
I know. And it's so weird too. I find that too. And even the moms, I'm sure, like some of my client moms, we have those types of conversations, and I'm like, we all have disabilities. Like,
Probably.
We all do. I'll diagnose this all right here. Like, we all do. But I think that's also what helps bring us tighter as a community, is because we're so used to having that that it only feels right when we're doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. When I'm having a typical conversation, I'm like trying to like think of like what's next. You know, it's just like a comfort thing almost. Like, you get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's been really positive, seeing that develop more and more as this year has evolved into what it's evolved.
Well, yeah, because I think that it's just drawing out the advocate. It's drawing out the advocacy in those that when they think back on their life, they're like, never again.
Yeah.
Like, I will not stand for this. There's no way in hell.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to push us backwards, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I definitely agree with you there. I think I'm hearing it more. I'm hearing it from more moms. Like, they find out what I'm doing. They start asking me a little bit more about the advocacy, and they're like, how did you get into that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you ready? Because if you're ready, I'll plug you in.
Yeah.
Like, I'll start plugging you into the people that I know. Like, but like, be prepared. Once you unlock that door, like, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
So be ready for it. Like, if you're going to step into advocacy, it's going to turn into activism. Like, you are going to do things and say things that you probably never would have expected from yourself.
Yeah. Well, and it also gives you, I think, as a mom or as a woman, I think it gives you strength.
Yeah, I'm like, lean into it.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, I'm like, go for it.
Just,
like, I don't want to make you
not?
uncomfortable. I'm not going to push you off a cliff. But like, if you need like a little nudge, I'm definitely the person to do that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how I am too. I'm like, I definitely don't, like, I think that there's no reason to have fear. Like, we have one life. We get one opportunity to try and do something impactful, something meaningful. And if, I don't know, in my opinion, like, this is why I'm here. I don't think I have any other reason, like, especially because I'm not from Indiana locally, right? I'm from Utah. I was stationed in Hawaii, right? So
Well, you made out like a bandit there.
Exactly, I did. But I'm just saying, like, I could have landed in any spot.
Right.
Right? And so now that I'm here, I'm doing it, and I've jumped harder into more of that advocacy, filling that gaps, getting parents in, seeing what they need, that sort of thing. It's like full steam ahead. Like, I'm like, there's no going back. Like you said, like, once you go in full throttle. And my thing is like, the worst somebody is going to tell me is no, or shut a door in my face.
Right.
And I really don't care if they shut the door in my face. I'll just sit on the floor. Like, you will hear what the hell I have to say.
Yeah.
Whether you do something about it, I don't care, but you're going to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in itself is like so much strength and courage for our community, to just have people like that who will sit on that floor and wait. Like, you will open this door and listen to me. Whether change comes out of it or not, it's a step.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always tell people, I want you to tell me now. That's when I operate best. Because when people discount me, when they think that I don't know things, man, I'm always going to prove them wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying I'm always going to get it right, but I will say I think my motivation is in the right place. Like, I genuinely want to help people. And I have come across more and more people like that. Like, that was their springboard into advocacy, is because they didn't want to see people suffer. Like, they legitimately wanted to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to step into advocacy, is to do it from a non-selfish place, like from a truly selfless point.
Yeah. Well, especially because today it's all about politics, and this is the right way, this is the wrong way, religion, and
Which team are you on?
exactly, which side do you fall on? And for me, it's like, there shouldn't really be a side to fall on, because everybody is their own person. Like, why the fuck do you care what I do with my life, that it doesn't affect you, but yet you're the one making all the decisions, and every fucking decision you make affects my life.
Right.
How much I pay in taxes, how much I pay on my mortgage, if I'm able to move, if I can pay for groceries, if I can afford my life. But yet you have been probably a millionaire
Right.
for years working as a politician.
Yeah.
You have no fucking clue what it's like to be down here working paycheck to paycheck, scribing, scraping, trying to make sure that these individuals have food on their table, have a place to sleep, and then that's where, like, I come into play of, like, you have to remember, like, this is, like, you can't save everyone, right? Because I'm like, well, they can come live with me for a minute, like,
right.
Like, just bring them to my house, like,
Sure,
I've got a room or whatever, right? But it's like, but that's not the answer.
Right.
So why don't you take a seat from your little high chair and come down here with us, because you're not making any improvements. We're not making any changes, and you're only going to get more of us. So the longer you ignore us, the more of us you're going to get in your face. And I think that that's the best way to do it. Like, keep ignoring us, because we're only going to grow stronger. We're going to grow with more knowledge, with more strength and more power. So it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's like, in my head, it's just like a big Civil War Avengers movie type of thing that plays in my head. Because it's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to us uniting and going straight to them.
Well, I think Indiana kind of proved that with this redistricting thing. And I have to say, like, I've been really hitting the advocacy hard. I've stepped a little bit more into the political arena than I ever thought I would have.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's necessary. I personally think, as a lifelong Hoosier, right? They are discounting the Hoosiers, because I see Hoosiers as very tough, gritty, resilient people. Like, some of these people are from farming communities that have been here since it was Indian territory. Like, these are people really at their core. They don't like to be told what to do. They want to do their own thing. Like, they actually do care about the environment, because they're farmers, they're fishermen, they're hunters. Like, they understand that connection.
Yeah.
They want their children to be educated. Like, a lot of people don't realize this. Give you a little Indiana history.
Yeah.
But when we became a state, because it was Northwest Territory, Indian Territory, then Indiana became a state in 1816. So we did not have slavery. Like in our actual first Indiana Constitution,
Okay.
there was no slavery.
Huh.
Like when we became a state, there just wasn't any.
Yeah.
So when the KKK started, drifted up from the Evansville area, that's a whole other side topic. But
Yeah.
as a state originally, we were not that way. So the very first families here, either they were indigenous, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Or mixed indigenous, or settlers or whatever. But from the beginning, from our core, the origin story of Indiana is we weren't about that shit.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that that is really still at the core of what Hoosiers are about for all of our problems. And I think that's what you saw in this redistricting, because these senators were more afraid of their constituents than they were of Washington, and they should be.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that it was necessarily their constituents that were like, you know, harassing them with all the swatting and whatever. I really don't believe that was Hoosiers, because I think that's beneath us.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my opinion. I don't think that, and if there were, they're probably people that just moved here, whatever. Because honestly, like, most of the women around here are more roughneck than most of the politicians in Washington. Like, we've got a lot more like Annie Oakley types here that are like, you know, grandma's got a shotgun under her floorboard sort of people. And they take no shit. Like that is my impression of Hoosiers. It's like full on fuck around and find out. And I think that's why the senators voted the way they did, because they're like, you know what? I don't know that I want to fuck with these people. I'm not convinced that Granny won't roll up to Indianapolis and be like, listen, I have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
I don't like XYZ. And most of the male farmers know that if it weren't for the women, they wouldn't have a farm.
No.
Like, these women, whether they be their children, their wives, their aunties, whatever, everybody was helping on the farm.
Yeah.
It was essential for everyone to work it together. So it would, like, in a lot of these pioneering and first families, right, it would not have worked to treat your women that way, to be like, right, you're underneath me, I'm going to beat the hell out of you all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it never happened, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in the farming families, they couldn't have kept their wives that way.
No.
And the indigenous women, sure as shit, would have never put up with that shit. So, like, I'm just saying, from someone that's been here for a long time, it gives me hope in Indiana.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful that some positives will come out, but I mean, I guess we'll see what happens as the year comes out.
It does. It takes all types. But I'm just saying, like, these transplants from Michigan, like the lieutenant governor for a second, like, he needs to take a seat, because he doesn't know anything about what it means to be a Hoosier. So, you know, like, the rejects that come from different states, I have no time for them.
And
Like, don't talk about Hoosier nothing.
Well, and I don't understand why you would even want to do that as a come from a different state to be. I guess that's one part of politics that I don't get. Like, if you're from Michigan and you're doing politics, right? Stay over there.
Well, I understand correctly, right? And, you know, I'll just speak about him because, you know, he's like in the limelight for good reason right now. He's an example of the type of people that we don't want here.
Yes.
Like, Hoosiers aren't that, like, traditionally, right? It's like, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. We want to get along. We like our neighbors. Like, traditionally, we very much are that type of, like, cup of sugar sort of neighbors.
Yeah.
We don't want to get in the weeds with all that kind of shit, because people get upset, and we would rather, like, everybody get along.
Yeah.
We would much rather go to, like, a bean dinner with cornbread with everybody in the community and, like, let's have a laugh. Let's sing together, whatever. Let's all be able to attend church service at the 50 million churches that we have here.
Yeah.
And then you bring people like that in, and they disturb the balance, because then they pit everybody against one another, and all those little things that maybe people had conversations or they had thoughts on, but it wasn't socially acceptable to say out loud, because it's like, you know, we don't need to go here. Like, you're allowed to have that opinion, but, like, you should not be projecting this bad opinion towards everyone, because, like, it's kind of your business. Like, nobody's telling you can't. Like, there's all different types of people here. There's always been a large Amish community.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. Like, like, do your thing. Like,
Yeah.
fine. Like, live your life. We're going to buy your mums from you. Like, we like you. You're fine. You're not bothering anyone. Like, I think Indiana was always that sort of place where it's like, cool, if you're brown and you're Muslim, like, just everyone. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, just live your life. That's what I think, like, I wish everyone would live this way. I know it's, like, wishful thinking, but it's, like, live your own fucking life and stop worrying about everybody else around you.
You're not supposed to be in everybody's bedroom. Like, worry about your own shit.
Exactly. It doesn't matter, like, unless you're doing something that's going to bring positivity into the world, like, don't worry about other people's shit. Because everybody has their own shit. Don't put your stuff on me because your opinion is not my opinion. Yeah. But then that's what creates that conflict, is because now you're pushing your opinion and your view on me, and I'm not about that.
Well, I will tell you this. One thing I believe, maybe I'm incorrect, but I think I'm right. There are things Hoosiers don't like. Mm-hmm. And it's things like rapists, child molesters, beating your wife. Doesn't go over well. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm saying the men that I know, they would see you as less manly. Mm-hmm. Like, no one here is like, sign me up to be best friends with a fucking rapist. No, that shit's unpopular. Yeah. I shouldn't have to say it out loud, but apparently I do. And so for some people, making excuses for certain people right now, it's like, guys, focus. Yeah. Focus. Like, we don't play like that here. Like, I get it. I understand boys club. I understand all that shit. But, like, we have guidelines here. Yeah. We do. And everybody knows it. And, like, that's kind of what keeps our society together.
Yeah. And it's what makes you different.
Yeah. It's like historically, we take care of our elderly. We take care of our children. We take care of our disabled. Like, that's what Indiana's about. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I would agree. I would agree on that, at least to all the people I have met. Like, it really is. It's not just about blood family. It's about, and maybe it too is just because I've been so ingrained in this community, but it's not about just who's your blood, because a lot of times that doesn't matter. Your family is actually the people that you bring in outside of your family, because the disability world and the world in general is so hard that a lot of families can't tolerate or don't understand or get it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I was telling somebody about this the other night. I'm real pissed off about the ICE shit. Really. I think it's not only anti-American, it's very anti-Hoosier, because we don't do that. Like, we don't put people in cages. Anyone. Yeah. Especially children. We don't stick dogs on people. Like, that's just cowardly shit. And you fight one-on-one here. Like, it's always been that way. Like, even if you were in grade school, high school, or whatever, like, I'm not saying people didn't fan out and watch it, but I'm just saying there better only be, like, 2 sets of fists flying. Yeah. Because that's how we do things here. And then to watch this type of response, and of course, you got opinions all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm just like, it's disgusting. And, like, I personally, some of my best friends are black. Yeah. I'll play hell. Yeah. Like, I better never see some shit like that go down in front of me. And I think more Hoosiers are like that. And you bet your ass they've been watching what's going on in Chicago, and they don't like it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that has been a big part of it, and of ICE in general. And
just a bunch of cowards.
It's just inhumane, right?
Well, what kind of fucking grown man covers their face, right? And, like, let me get my giant assault rifle out and, like, point it at a bunch of kids or, like, a bunch of people with no
why would
arms.
You?
From a military perspective, right? I'm speaking from a civilian perspective.
No, I don't agree with it I don't agree with what is going on with the ICE situation, for the simple fact that it's inhumane. Like, we're not in a war zone. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, we don't take kids. I don't even think in war zones, like, members of the U.S. military would pull a child from their family just to separate, for the same reason. Like, so that's why it's more of like it's about who has the power and who has the control. And we're going to show you that we as a government, we own you. Right? And then now we're going back to, we just want to you be our servants, you be the slaves and worker bees, right? And that's bullshit, because we don't even act that way when we're at war with people.
Right.
In third world countries where they are literally, their main goal is to kill us. Mm-hmm. But yet we're in our own nation ripping kids from families, or trying to go into schools and have parents come get their kids to then do these things. Like, I understand right behind the reason. I get that. I'm not saying that like I disagree with it. Like, I get the aspect of what is going on. Of being illegal, right? Because that's in a lot of different countries as well. Mm-hmm. But I also think a lot of those illegal individuals contribute hugely to our society. So instead of ripping them out when they've been here for decades and they've contributed and they've paid their taxes and they've done all these things, like, there's got to be a better system than to just, because there's been people who are United States citizens, mm-hmm. who are Hispanic, mm-hmm. who have been arrested. There's been people who are from different countries who have been naturalized, right. and are now being told they have to leave. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? And I have friends in the military who that's how they became U.S. citizens. Right. Right? Mm-hmm. And I have conversations
and that's very common.
Yeah, it's very common. It's very common that's how individuals get their citizenship.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of like an accelerated way to get citizenship, right?
Because you can join the military services, and by the time you graduate, you are a United States citizen. Mm-hmm. But even at that, they're still making people self-deport or telling them they have to leave. So then it's like a big fuck you. Right. Because I was willing to sign on that dotted line and put my life on the line to go over somewhere and possibly get killed. Put mm-hmm. my life on the line for mm-hmm. every single American. Mm-hmm. Every single American. Mm-hmm. And now you're saying I have to leave. Right. And that's happened multiple times. Mm-hmm. I mean, my husband even, for example, I mean, he's an American citizen, right? Mm-hmm. But he is Hispanic. Mm-hmm. And he works in construction, where right. a lot of Hispanic right. people work, which is where a lot of ICE raids happen. Right. You know?
Has he seen that himself?
Yes. Jesus. And so he, you know, when they were really happening downtown a lot, like pretty frequently mm-hmm. in the beginning, like, he would tell me, like, I don't know if they're going to grab me. I don't know, because right. yeah. he's Hispanic.
Because he's brown.
He's brown. He looks like, you know, and I'm like, are you being for real? And he's like, no, I'm being dead ass. Like, they're not asking. They're just coming
because he looks like the rest of them, right?
Exactly. He looks, how would they know?
If you're just grabbing people, right? Which is what they're doing. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't agree, right? I'm just saying from how it appears. If all you're doing is grabbing people and you're grabbing all the brown people, well, then how would you know?
Yeah, and who's to say that, like, I get maybe getting rid of, like, all the people who are doing wrong, right? All the bad shit. Like, I'm totally for that. Like, I don't like to see young kids being hooked on drugs because sure. of whatever, right? Sure. So I get that part of getting rid of that. But if you have people who are literally just trying to live their life for the better, like, shouldn't there be some kind of like check or like middle ground to where it's like, okay, like, I'm not just going to show up on this construction site and round up this whole fucking crew from this company because I know that they're working there.
Well, I think that money is at the core of this too,
yeah,
right?
That too.
Because, you know, that building that they dropped into in Southside Chicago, mm-hmm. I don't know if you heard about that, but there was some sketchy stuff going on with it, and mm-hmm. like, financially they got bought out by someone else or whatever. It was convenient to have it void of people, put it that way. Yeah, like when you start, like, sometimes it takes a little time for these things to surface, but like there seems to be trends and things like this, and you know, I guess all of it for me, right? Like, whether it's the autism community or the Hispanic community, is like, what's the end game? Yeah. And I think those of us that are paying attention, the end game looks dark.
Yes.
And that is why I'm like real heavy into the advocacy, because I'm like, no, like, I have family that fought in the American Revolutionary War. Yeah. No, I'm not that type. Like, the women that we had here originally, like, they were manning cannons. You think you're going to convince a bunch of these types of people mm-hmm. to just cave? I think they are greatly underestimating the American public. Mm-hmm. It's like tugging on a dragon's tail, and like they just keep tugging.
Yeah.
Like I don't agree that the American public will cave in the way that they want.
I don't think so either. I think that there will be definitely a harder stance as we get into 2026, because that's when America will start to really feel those cuts taking place and these changes, because right now it's all this, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Well, this is the positive. Well, this is the positive. And in my opinion, they give us a lot of positives, but it's only just to fill us full of hope, so that way when they give us the actual truth and all the bullshit that they're going to do, we're like, oh, well, it was possible.
I'm really uncomfortable with a bunch of people that were not elected by the American public in positions that are affecting our government, our policy making, slashing programs, whatever. Like, that in and of itself is really disturbing for me, because it's like, even for the hardcore Trumpers, right? They're like, I voted for him. He's all of our presidents. We like what he's doing. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, okay. But what about Stephen Miller and all these other fucks? Like, nobody voted them in.
Yeah.
And now, why does the Heritage Foundation have anything to do with our government? Like, why are our politicians being headed paperwork and they're like, right, like this looks good. Let me just sign off on that. Like, that to me is just astonishing. Like, the rolling over en masse. I'm like, you spineless wonders. Like, I get it. I understand how it works. I understand that you're scared. Maybe you're scared for your families or whatever. But, like, why are you there then?
Yeah.
Because this is not the type of place for a cowardly person.
No.
And it never was.
Mm-mm. And it's, again, like, I think with everything else, really, it comes back to money. Like, you're spineless because you want that money. Yeah. And I think it takes people like me and you who are like, we need to make enough to cover our shit so that way we can survive. But at the end of the day, like, you need to be able to fight. And the dollar, that is like the core of everything, is the dollars, right? And if you are spineless and you can't stick up for what you believe in or your morals or your values or what put you in that place, because you're getting a specific dollar amount, if you can't step away from that to see what really needs to happen, you don't deserve a spot in advocating for what we need, because you're not doing us any justice.
Well,
no
I
justice.
mean, we could just hop all over the place with this, but like, I'm a big believer in 7 generations, right? Like, we should be looking forward 7 generations. Like, these are the type of people that they're only looking at themselves. Like, they're not even looking at their children's generation. Like, they're so concerned with their own wealth and their own greed. It's so short-sighted that they're like, yeah, let's just, open up all the national parks and let's just let them mine the hell out of it and cut all the trees down. Like, I always think about that movie, The Lorax.
Yes.
All the time. I'm like, you have these examples that we show our children that's like...
Literally how it's, I know. And then I always think of like The Simpsons, like, you know, how they always have like, oh, The Simpsons predicted this or The Simpsons predicted that. And I'm like, but damn, they really did. Like, but damn, they really did. So then I like will catch myself like rewatching things from the past. And I'm like,
from like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, maybe we were looking, but yeah, you're right. We don't do that anymore. We don't.
And I just feel like the environment's everybody's game, right?
Yeah.
Like, water, like, we're 70% water. All of our vegetables have water in them. Yet nobody's concerned about what they're pumping into our water that goes into all of our streams, rivers, whatever, that affects the fish. Like, I can, as an autistic person, very clearly see how all of this intersects for the fishermen, the farmers, the, outdoorsmen, the hunters, whatever, just pick one. Like,
well, and I mean, before all this modern medicine, before all these pills, like, a lot of supplements that we get for all these things come from the ground.
Right.
So when we start messing with our natural environment, we start messing with the ingredients that we're combining to make us better.
Well, I find it fascinating even, and this is how people don't really research. I'm pretty sure it was Nixon that decided, yeah, we probably should care about our air quality.
Yeah.
Like, Nixon wasn't like a liberal, you know, like some of the Republicans we had from the past were like, yeah, this probably sounds like good critical thinking, like some sound advice.
Yeah.
And like, I guess what I'm saying is this. The Republicans that believe that they still have the party of the past, they're fooling themselves. I'm not saying that I agree with everything with the Democratic Party either. I think, in a way, like a lot of it's same side of the same coin, and it's, you know, fueled by greed, right?
Yes.
So we need to really dig deep into these politicians to find out who our allies are. Like,
Yeah.
do they have a firm stance?
Yeah.
Do we think we can trust them? How much money do they have? Like, if someone says a grassroots candidate, for example, how much money do they have sitting there, and from who?
Yeah.
Like, there's all this stuff that your normal citizen can look up. We need to do better. We need to do our research better. And, you know, find your way to advocacy, like whatever advocacy. Like, if you're an avid outdoorsman, get your ass out there. Start talking to somebody. Be like, you know what? Like, I currently deer hunt, and I want to make sure that my son can deer hunt for the next 50 years.
Yes.
And this is what I'm concerned about. You're an avid fisherman, right? You're like, right, I like to fish. I think everybody should have access to learn to fish.
Yes.
We need clean waters for the fish. Like, dive into the advocacy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There's
100%.
something for everybody.
Oh, yeah. And I think advocacy in any area or any field, like, especially now, it's like the perfect time, because every single thing about our nation is changing.
Yeah.
Almost completely 100%. The way we live, the cost of living, the ways in which people are able to make money,
Right.
the ways in even the job market. Like, I know people who maybe lost their job a couple of weeks ago. It's been 3 weeks. They're still looking for a job.
Right.
You know, so it's like even advocating for those in those areas, in those spaces, and to people about like, hey, is there millions and hundreds of millions of jobs, but yet we need our freaking parents' inheritance to get that motherfucker. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I think advocacy now in every single aspect of life, or even like the nursing degree and the changes with that profession.
Yeah.
And that's a freaking critical, like, without nursing, I'm like, that's the most important profession there is, because 9 times out of 10, they're the ones that are keeping you alive.
Yeah.
Like, the doctor is great and the doctor can do a lot. I get that. But your nurses are your front line, like, go-getters.
Well, it just cracks me up, right, that, like, theology was on that list. Hey, not knocking the preachers, right? I do think there are some good preachers.
Yeah.
And we have seen some of them recently. I am not surprised, but also equally disheartened that I'm seeing so many preachers getting, clocked for pedo shit, which is awful. But for those that are good, like, stand up for your people, do the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, how can you equate someone graduating in theology over a social worker, an MP, or whatever? Like, these nurses should be rattling the cage at this point, pissed off, because you're right, they do the majority of the work.
Yeah.
And they get all the shit work. Like,
All
my
the
aunts that were nurses.
Yeah. They get all the shit work. They get, if something goes wrong, they get all the
fault.
blame. They have to work all the shifts. They have to do all the things, while a doctor comes and goes. And yeah, I get it. I'm not a doctor. I can't speak to what a typical whatever would be like, right? But I have worked in a hospital, and I have seen an average day of a doctor, and I have seen the average day of a nurse.
Yeah.
And even if you're
They're pulling 12-hour shifts easy.
12-hour shifts, sometimes 5 days a week, because nursing
Maybe 7
is
days
short.
a week. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And they're just getting shit all the time. They're getting shit all the time. And they burn out.
Yeah.
They burn out, and now we're just trying to discredit them completely when they're the most valuable people in our economy, in my opinion.
Well, then teachers too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know I was rattling on about the public school system, though I am a supporter of it. I believe that everyone should have access to public education. I just wish there were stronger supports within that system for the disabled children. I get that they don't have enough resources. I get that they're understaffed, that they're tired. I understand all that. And I'm not saying that that's their fault. I think we need to do better.
Yes.
And I would not blink, right, if I knew that my kid who had severe behaviors would say have like an assistant. And that I could meet that person and make sure that my child was comfortable with them. Like, I wouldn't have any problem being like, right, you'll be good. Like, you'll be good because you'll have a person there with you if you start to have a behavior that can help keep you on track, that can help you focus or whatnot.
Yep.
But I know that person won't be there.
Yes.
And that's what's making me nervous.
And that is a huge transition as well for a lot of families who are seeing the cuts in in all the school systems, right? I mean, I had a parent ask me, like, do you think which is why I even started looking into teachers who teach life skills and FA classes and stuff, is because, like, you can work as a private teacher one-on-one with individuals and have work with them in a homeschool capacity as their teacher, which a lot of my families, because of the shortage or because behaviors are increasing, like, they're starting to say, like, maybe I should just homeschool. Maybe I should just homeschool.
I never thought I would have that conversation with myself, but you better believe.
Well, and it's because if you have a kiddo who doesn't have that one-on-one support and then they have a behavior, the school's calling, you got to go pick them up. So
or they're going to kick them out.
Or they're going to, exactly, you only get so many. Or like with ABA, some of the centers, you only get like 3 strikes and you're out, type of a thing if your behaviors are too big. So it's like, that can't be it, like, because we're gonna see behaviors. You're gonna have behaviors. That is part of their disability. Like, and I literally cannot understand people who think that as a behavior consultant or as a therapist, I'm just gonna come in and fix the behavior.
Right.
No, that behavior is going to be lifelong. Can we decrease it?
Yeah.
Definitely decrease it. But it's always going to be here. It's not going away, right? But also being able to work with teachers and understand the way that they can use their skills, right, to then support your individual who maybe is homeschooled once to twice a week or a few hours a day or whatever in a more one-on-one setting, because that is not available at all.
Right.
And that is what's really needed, because those individuals are usually very, very smart,
right,
very, very high functioning, and I often say they're tricky because they look and appear to not be.
Right.
But oftentimes, just because they can't use expressive language to the level that they should,
right,
we discredit their intellectual and cognitive ability. And I even had a mom say, to me one time, well, don't you think he's just at a toddler level?
Wow.
And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, who the hell told you that? She's like, well, that's what everybody's always told me, is that he's like at a toddler cognitive level. And I was like, this dude is literally the smartest little shit I've ever seen. Like, he's been playing me this whole freaking time. Yeah. And it's like, but again, there's that umbrella term of how you read the paper, right? We read the paper and that's what it says.
That's
but
just
it's
not
like,
helpful.
Need to meet the person and see them. And so, like, I've started doing a lot of videos because I'm like, I need people to see that, yes, this person might be the person who gives me a concussion. Yes, this person might smear poo on the walls. Yes, this person might pull my hair. But, like, those are just freaking moments.
Right.
Maybe they're long moments. Maybe they're short moments. Maybe they're in a community. I just had a kiddo, I took him to the Christmas lights at the zoo, and he lost his marbles. Yeah. Because he wanted to go on the train, but we needed a ticket. Right. And so we just sat there, and I kind of, like, stood in front of him, and I'm like, we got to go buy a ticket. Like, patting him on the back. He was crying. He was upset. Yeah. But it's just like, he's okay. And he knew he was okay because he's taller than me. He's bigger than me. And there's been multiple times he's overpowered me. Right. But in that moment, I was able to, we were able to connect and realize, like, yes, you want to go on the train. I'm going to take you to the train, but we need to buy a ticket first. Right. But just being able to be there and build that relationship of, like, he knows that I know he's struggling on just making that decision.
Yeah.
But then you can also tell, like, he really wants to follow what you're saying so he can have the train, but he just can't stop engaging in that behavior right at that moment.
Yeah. I see that all the time with
yeah.
my older one especially. It's just like, he's that kid that's like, no means no, and there's no way in hell that I'm going to deviate from that until I do, until it's my choice. And so I often say, you know, I know not all men are this way, right? But it's just something that I always heard. It's like, hey, you know, men, they operate best if it's their idea.
Yeah.
And so I've just kind of treated Kai like that. I'm like, right, okay, this just has to be your idea. So we just need to structure it in a way that you think it's your idea, and then we do it.
Yep.
Which generally kind of works out that way.
Yeah. I think that's how most of my clients are, honestly, is they have so little control.
Yes.
Over the things in their life. And any sort of control that you can give them, or any sort of power to make their own decision or do something themselves, I think goes way farther than if you try to make those decisions for them, because maybe they can't make them right in that very moment, but everybody has different processing time.
Right.
So that's the other part that I really try to make sure that is understood, that, you know, this client might take 10 seconds before he even gives you any type of response.
Right.
So you're not going to sit here and be like, let's go. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
I said, let's go 10 times.
Yeah,
Come on, hurry
it's
up.
it's like, no. Like, say it once. Give him 10 seconds. Give him a freaking minute.
Right.
Go do whatever the hell you need to do.
Yeah.
And then let's go. Like, you don't need to sit on him. Like, he's not there. And that's why I think they're tricky, is because, you know, yeah, you can say some words. Yeah, you can use your device. Yeah, you can use your pics. You can communicate. But I also think sometimes they know that they don't have to communicate.
Right. Right.
And they don't have to do that.
Yep.
And that's why they're so intelligent, is because they're able to understand the difference. Because I have clients who I know can do literally all the things, and they choose to not to for the staff because they know the staff will not make them do it, because they don't want to risk the behavior.
Right.
But then you're not teaching anything. So then we have regression.
Right.
So it's like, how does that, you know?
Well, I think, you know, all this just boils up to the same thing, right? It's like, how do we be better humans? How can we serve each other best?
Yeah.
You know, how can we give the disability community a true voice, not speak for them,
Yes.
find ways that they can do things for themselves, speak for themselves, advocate for themselves. And we're just failing.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out a better way.
Yeah. And I think we need to, as a community, start coming together on, if there's multiple people doing it one way and that way is not working, don't be afraid. Because for a long time I was nervous to go out on my own and be like, that's not what it is, right? Like, in trying to find different ways and make different ways work. And then it was just like, if you're going to be afraid, then stop even trying. Yeah. And it's like, you either have to be wholeheartedly dedicated to doing this and putting your heart and soul into this. And if you're not, then it's like, you need to find what you are for, because then that's when I feel like you make the most impact in everything, because everybody in America is going to lose some sort of something going into these next few years. We're going to lose health benefits. We're going to lose different food sources. Yeah. We're going to lose different benefits. Like, we all need each other.
Yeah, we got to rally.
So why keep fighting? Like, even these Medicaid companies, like, you know, they should want to partner to help fill those gaps, because they have those regulations, they have those guidelines, right, that they have to follow. But then you have companies, you know, nonprofits like us who are out here like, we don't have to follow those rules. So what do you need, and how do we fill that gap? And create our own system for us, by us, because only we know what we want, only we know what we need. And no senator who's never stepped foot in a house, no president I don't care if you're a Republican president or Democratic president.
Right.
If you have never, ever, ever, ever worked in this field, stop filling us full of your bullshit.
Right.
Because you give everyone hope for shit that is not real.
Right.
And that is like my biggest thing that I literally say to everybody is like, do not believe what is being said.
Yeah, they're peddling snake oil right now, right? Like for all the people right now that have a child, for example, that has autism, that has a lot of struggles, that they're just like clinging to this hope now of like, well, they said they're going to find a cure and my life is so hard and I just want that so badly. Like that is so evil, I think, because like rather than just finding a way to give people skills, like we said earlier, adding tools to the toolbox.
Yes.
But don't lie to people. Don't tell people their condition's going to improve if it's not substantially going to improve.
Yeah.
Like that's just cruel.
Well, and it's not realistic. Like these are biological, medical things.
Yeah.
Why are we pouring millions and billions of dollars into finding cures, but we're not trying to put any money into helping create a solution for right now?
Well, just helping the people that are already here,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
If you all the time and all the resources that are being spent to try and make America healthy, right? I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think healthy choices are great. Healthy foods, no dyes, no chemicals. Like, I'm all about it. Make it affordable.
Or how about you just go straight to the source, right? Like ask the farmers.
Yeah.
Make sure that you talk to people that know about food, know about growing food.
Yeah, know about what goes into the food and not like all these other places or saying, oh, we found this helps with this. Okay, you have 10 people that showed these different things, but where were their ranges on the disability? Right? It's just, I don't know. Right now I feel like you can't really believe anything that's being said because it's all on a false narrative.
Well, because I was raised in the church too. Mm-hmm. And I always think back to this, right? It's like, if you don't teach someone to fish, right? You can give as many loaves of bread and as many fish as you want. But if they don't know how to get it themselves, you're not helping them.
Yeah.
Give people tools. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love to see, we're going the opposite way now, but I would actually love to see more investment in all kinds of education programs for everyone. Like an educated populace would help everyone. Yes. Everybody's got a skill set, right? Like if we made higher education actually accessible. Yeah. Because we need everyone. Like we do need the artists, the musicians, the carpenters, the electricians. Like we need everybody. Everybody's got a skill set. So now you're going to make it harder. So I think all these questions we have to ask ourselves, right? Why is that? Mm-hmm. To what end? And it just seems like all roads now point to greed, keeping people stupid, uneducated, not having access to food, or restricting the way that they can access food. Mm-hmm. All of it is not for your common man. Because if you really cared, you would teach them to fish.
Yeah. You would teach, you would provide the resources. Yep. And it's just, I think we've strongly stepped away from that. That's why I say we went from trying to provide everybody in the best life to like now we just want people to have a good life. And I almost think of it as like the from the movie what is it, like with Katniss Everdeen, you know how they have the Capitol and all the people up at the Capitol. Yeah, Hunger Games. Like all the people up at the Capitol are all those rich, wealthy, like blah blah blah, and they really just want to see the rest of us fucking fall and crumble.
Well,
and be out.
I mean, or The Great Gatsby, right?
Yep.
Like, it's that. Like now we're having this widening gap between rich and poor, and the really sick thing is, the convincing of the poor that they want to be like them, and like that it's attainable when it's not.
Yeah.
like all these types of things. I just,
Yeah. Well, and the other part of it is like I would love to see these individuals who are able to do something, who have all this money, do something.
they won't.
They won't do anything, but
They won't. And think about it though.
Because they're making money off the back end. They're really the
Yes.
ones making money off of
Yes.
everything, which I get. I know at the end of the day, they're the ones with
Their
the money.
motive. So, you know, there are several flaws in the thought that people that have wealth, if you allow them to do their thing, that they will inherently take care of the poor. They never do. They never do. That's why we had to start Social Security and things like that, because we were shown that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so now we're just cycling back. And it's like, how many times do we have to see the same show with the same results? But the results just keep getting worse.
Yep.
Like, there are some people that have enough money to solve things like homelessness, world hunger. And then they do the opposite. Like, then these are the people that go in and like destruct the government and nix USA ID, and then all these poor people around the world are starving to death.
Yeah, and then they spend millions and billions of dollars on material shit when that $50 million freaking yacht could have probably fed a whole fucking nation.
Right. And it's like, but these are the people, right, that we are told we need to aspire to be like.
Yeah.
Like the people that are seriously devoid of any human connection. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see that in my politicians.
No, and
I want to see the single mom that's been on WIC.
Yeah.
That's the sort of stuff I want to see in my politicians.
Oh, yeah, me too. I want to see real people who get it, not people who have been maybe in politics so long that now they're detached from where they came from.
Or multi-generational politicians.
Yeah.
And some of them might be good. Like, you know, I am kind of a fan of the Kennedys. Like, I'm kind of excited to see what that Kennedy kid might do.
Yeah.
He comes from money, right? But I'm not saying that there might not be someone like rise from the ashes to like combat that, and that I wouldn't say, oh, I like that one.
Exactly.
I would be more inclined to like the underdog, because I think people that have really struggled, they know what empathy looks like. And I don't think you can teach that. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. And I would agree with that 100%. I think that is how you connect, and that is how you make the biggest impact. Is, again, like, my biggest philosophy in life is I could have all the money in the world, but one day I'm going to leave this world, and that money really doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So if I leave this world at least helping or trying to make it better, that is more of how I would, no matter how much money it makes me. If it makes me a dime, if it doesn't make me shit, I don't care. But money is not, in my opinion, what makes happiness. Buying all this material shit, like, doesn't fucking matter. When you know that. And I think that's why sometimes it's hard for me too, is because it's like, I know all these people are struggling. And if I could do something, I always tell people, I just need to win the lottery. If I could win the lottery, I would solve so many problems with just one click of a fucking button. You know? And it's like, we have so many people who haven't really won the lottery, but have enough money to give back, that it really, to me, is disgusting. That you can have so much wealth and have such a platform and say this, and this, but yet, like, you're not, like, you're so shallow. You're so shallow about it. So I don't know. I don't look up to anybody who has wealth unless they actually do something with it. Like, advocate for something. Be an advocate. Be a move maker, a change maker. If you have money, you have the ultimate leverage to make a difference in the world. You can empower us, the people who are down here on the floor, fighting the battle, trying to get these funds, trying to help these families. And it's like they just see it. And
you know what's funny about all that you're saying? I feel like I finally really found my purpose.
Yeah.
And I've never been so happy. And I'm probably like not the poorest, but in that stage of my life that I have the least amount of wealth that I ever did, besides like, you know, being a kid and before I was working and all that. And I think it's really about finding where you fit and what your skill set is, and just like really diving into that, because the world needs all those people.
Oh yeah. And like you said, we all have different skills. Like but with that, all typical people have different skills. But all of our people with disabilities have skills that would be just as useful in those workspaces that we're asking other people to be in.
Yes.
So it's not about this community and this community. It's about this community.
Right.
And I think that we've really gotten away from this community, the whole picture.
Yeah.
And what do, you know, because even as a nonprofit, it's like I hear sometimes my staff will say, well, is this for individuals with disability or is this for like the community? And I'm like, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Like disability, not a disability, like everybody, because I don't know if that person that's walking down the street is masking.
Right.
I don't know.
Sure.
We don't, you know, we have no idea.
Right.
So that is the drive, is to create that. And I think that is going to be a big key in our community, is coming together as a community in all of our aspects and bringing everybody's background together from all these different companies and saying, look, we all know there's a problem. If you have any type of heart for this field, you've seen the problem, you know the problem, you know it's about to get worse. But how do we bring all of our resources, all of our minds together to solve that problem?
Right.
And I think that we can't do that until money falls out. You know what I'm saying? Like money is the driving factor behind it, but I'm saying because if they start partnering with other companies, we start fixing problems. Well, now all these companies will see it as a money loss.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, okay, well, are you in it for the people or are you in it for the money?
Yeah, I think, you know, I always tell people, just in general, just start. Yeah. Just start somewhere and you will find your people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, and if you need mentorship, like, go to an organization that you respect and ask them. Be like, you know what, I want to get involved. I want to learn more about what you're doing. Is there anybody that can mentor me? Is there anybody that can talk to me? Yeah. And I think especially, I can't speak for all the nonprofits, right? But like in general, I think people that are really well-intentioned in these type of fields, like if you approach them with an open heart, they're going to find a place for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because they need help and they want good people.
Yeah, and you want people that care and share in your values. And that has been, as I've been hiring people on and bringing people on, I've only brought people on who have kids because I know they need the work. Right. They need the flexibility. They understand. Yeah. And so whenever I have a parent call, I know that who I'm sending them to will get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And actually care and be passionate about it. It's the same way with when we help families find like residential staff and stuff like that. It's a process. Like took like almost 3 weeks to hire someone because I'm like, I'm not bringing just random people into your home. Right. Like if this is going to be a 3-month stint for them, I'm not wasting your resources, your time, and the little amount of money that you have to be able to afford this. Right. Like, no, we're not doing that. And that's, you know, again, all comes back to being greedy.
Right. Well, hey, I think you're doing a great job. And I'm glad that I got a chance to sit down with you and that you were willing to be so authentic and candid about what you think.
Thank you. I'm
That's
really
refreshing.
I'm really honored to be on the podcast and get to come here and talk about all these things with you. It was really nice to get to have an open conversation with somebody who gets it and somebody who's real about it.
Right. Well, I'm definitely real, and you can definitely be authentic here. So I always ask everybody this, but we talked about a lot of things today. And if people don't take anything away from this podcast besides this one thing, like what do you want them to remember about you?
To remember about me is that if you need help, you have questions, or you feel isolated or out of place, call me.
Okay. And where can they reach you?
They can reach me at, my phone number is 435-621-4153 or at conniesclubhouse.work.
Okay. Do you have an email?
I do, or my email is Taylor Hines at conniesclubhouse.work.
Perfect. So we'll put all that in the details for the show today. And I am really, really thankful that you came on.
Thank you.
You're welcome to come back anytime.
Oh, anytime. I'd love it. Thank you.
Great. See you guys later.
We are at a pivotal point in American history. We do not have the luxury to remain silent. Programs are disappearing every day. We hope that this podcast raises awareness and sparks a sense of advocacy in you. We all can make a difference. The important thing is to start. See you next time.